What's happening? This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles live. It's alive. Buzzing off the big 200th episode. Yeah, that was a great show. So we're this is a continuation of that. So let's have a great one. What's happening, Michael? What's going on? Grunge and Grime Soap Company represent. Good to see you. What's up, Holly? What do you say? Lori Dawn in Cape Cod. There you go. That I always mistake for Rhode Island, right? Yeah, 200 was great. What's up, Chris? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. What's up, Robert? Robert Hogg, what do you say, bro? Yeah. Yeah, it was great. Nice once in a while to be able to hit one, out of the park, so to speak. And I'm looking forward to today with some friends. We're gonna chop it up because we got a really great show coming up this Sunday in New York City, which we are going to talk about a little bit. Of course, the show coming up this Sunday is this, which is Sworn Enemy, Inhuman, Incendiary Device. Our first show, Blackout Shoppers and Sewage at the Bowery Electric. It's free. If it's free, it is for me, and all ages. So yeah, that's sort of a bit of the theme today, as well as another show we got coming up. Is that right? Are you at Hellfest, Max? Is that right, brother? Hellfest, boy, I saw some of that Hellfest footage of Agnostic Front, and wow, that's crazy. Max, we need to I'll send you the link, Max. Come on and talk about what's going on at Hellfest, man. In the meantime, what are you picking your nose?
What's up?
Oh, you're all choppy, bro.
I am. You hear you loud and clear.
You know what? You're slipping, bro. Your reception is slipping these days.
I don't know what it is. I think it's the
You know what? Sign off and sign back on, will you?
I'll be right back.
I don't have any patience for this shit anymore. Have your fucking game tight. Or don't bring it at all. Is that right, Max? Right out there on the ball field. Yeah, I saw the footage for the AF gig. And who else? I saw Sick of It All. I saw Slapshot. Yeah, AF killed it. Were you there too, Enzo? Yep. Crazy. Let me see. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, just as bad.
Oh, for God's sake.
All right, a little bit better. But anyway.
Okay.
Let's try to get through it to the best of our abilities.
That's all we can do in this world.
All right, I'm going to throw you a curveball today.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Something different. Photo of the day. Here it goes. Bam. Okay? All right. Why don't we play? Anybody want to guess what this is? Anybody want to guess what band this is? No. Yep.
That's a great shot.
Okay. So, yes, riddle me this, Batman. Riddle me this, Batman. Is it Brian Baker being told off by Batman? Good one. Good one. Is it Batman and the Gorshins? Is it the Riddler? Is it the Aquabats?
That's funny.
By the way, the Aquabats are playing tonight. The reason I know that is because Mac Gray is playing drums in the opening band.
Don't panic.
Is it the Bat Boys? Is it Stigma telling it like it is? Is it Keith Morris and Black Flag, UCLA 1981? Okay, let's go deep on this. Do you know what this is?
Well, clearly that's Batman and the Riddler.
Okay, where are they and what's going on?
That is a very good question.
Well, here's a couple of clues. You ready? Look what's going on in the background. The guy on the right has a trombone. It looks like there's a whole band. The guy's at a piano. So there's a whole band behind them. And look over the Riddler's shoulder. Obviously, they're outdoors.
Yeah,
right?
This is obviously before. I guess they're coming on, maybe introducing a band.
I will show you what this is. This is going to blow your mind, bro. And I thought of you. Okay, this is an event that was held at Shea Stadium in Queens.
Oh, wow.
It was in-person Adam Batman West, Frank the Riddler Gorshin, with music by the Young Rascals, known for Good Lovin', the Temptations, Junior Walker and the All Stars, a couple others. I don't know what, 26 Batusi girls. The master of ceremonies for the first half of the concert is Cousin Brucey Morrow, and obviously behind him that was Skitch Henderson and his Tonight Show Orchestra.
So that's before Doc Severinsen came in, I guess.
This is 1966 at Shea Stadium, Saturday, June 25th, 1966. And the other reason that it caught my eye is, well, here's another. Now this shot this isn't a great shot, but it still gives you some perspective on the thing. Here they are on stage. It doesn't look like the place was too crowded. You know? Doesn't look too crowded. But the other thing that caught my eye that reminded me of you and made me want to throw you a curveball is apparently the Long Island Railroad was running trains, free Batman hats to our Batman special riders. That's the Long Island Railroad schedule, and they were giving out free hats.
Awesome.
It was the Batman concert at Shea Stadium.
Wow.
Right?
That's a pretty cool. That poster alone is awesome.
Yeah. Here's another one. Here's the. I guess this was the handout for it. It's pretty cool. Concerts at Shea. Harry Bloomfield. You know, you got to have a good Jewish promoter. Take it from someone who knows. Premier pop concert at, crazy.
Wow, that's how big Batman was at that time.
You know who we should bring on to comment on this? We might have to drop the hammer. So. Here we go.
Ragbone! 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 Ragbone!
Yo.
Yeah, what up?
Yo, you see this Batman thing at Shea Stadium?
Yeah, you know what's funny? I'm so interested in my collectible of the day that I'm kind of zoning out, but I'm seeing what you guys are talking about. But this was also reminding me of when I was young. People will remember this were big apes fans, right? There used to be like a Planet of the Apes village where then it would have turned into like, what were those Western places they used to have? Like OK Corral, you go there in those Western cities. It's kind of like medieval times, but it was in the 70s, the early 70s.
What, it was a real place? It was a place you could go to?
Like Planet of the Apes village, like it would have been the equivalent of going to the Toys R Us parking lot to meet Spider-Man and a couple of characters from Planet of the Apes or something, but like in a village that it was like the whole town was set up like Planet of the Apes.
Really? Where was that?
Yeah. Somewhere in Jersey. I don't know. Near where I guess Monmouth County somewhere where Circus.
You ever hear of that, Steven? Planet of the Apes Village?
No, not at all. That's crazy.
I used to think I was dreaming it, but there's posters online, so I finally tracked it down. Sometimes it's all about the hunt for information and then the knowledge of picking like what I love to do,
Cool.
So
I like that but this is a cool shot. Like I'm a fan of
Frank. So I was
I'm a fan of Frank Gorshin's.
Yeah,
man.
I love it.
He was great. Yeah. He was great. He was the Riddler, yo. Anybody
Now-
else who he was the real deal Riddler, man.
Yeah, I didn't like the Addams Family
So,
guy.
I was just gonna.
He's not good.
Kevin Haggerty says it was in
what you thought
Newark.
of the.
I remember it, Kevin.
Yeah. All
What's
right.
up, Eggs, Haggy?
Yep. What's that, Steven?
Drew, I was just gonna ask you what you think of the current Riddler from
Who's
the
the current Riddler?
the Robert Pattinson Batman.
Bro, that thing, yo, bro, I didn't even watch that shit, man. I heard that movie sucked. And you know what? How's this sound? Let me tell you something.
Hello.
Yo, fuck Batman, all right? Because I've seen enough Batmans already. How many Batman? Yo, I watched there was the first two with Michael Keaton, right? Then there was
You remember
Val Kilmer.
the next three with Val Kilmer, George Clooney,
No.
and
the worst.
right?
And then Christian Bale.
For 3 movies. And now we're on what? Our 9th Batman movie? Yo, fuck that, man.
How many origins can you have, right?
Yo, they're like retreading shit for the 3rd time, bro. You know?
Yeah.
Shit is whack. But you know, hey, Steven, I'm going to let you go. I'll see you later.
You got it.
All right. What do you got, Rat Bones?
We did have it cool as kids, you know. When you see stuff like that, it harkens back, right? It's like those were the days. There was fairs, circuses came to town. It's just different times, man. I'm gonna go and have a little theme today. We're gonna go, of course, with the flea market funk, you know, but we've got kind of 80s thing happening here, late 70s, early 80s. A lot of times at the flea market, it doesn't feel like, you know, there's a lot left for me to get unless someone has a big score and I get to, you know, find some really cool shit. But sometimes when you're digging, you find some really cool smalls. And this week I got a box of cards and I'm just going to go through them really quick. Not all of them, but a big stack of Return of the Jedi. I mean, this many cards, big old stack. I paid $8 for the whole box. But then the cool things that were in there was some black hole stickers. I love this guy from the black hole, right? Maximilius or Maximil something, man. That character was badass, right? Black Hole was like the rip-off movie for Star Wars from Disney back then.
What? It's called
Remember
what? The Black Hole?
Black Hole with those little robots. Yeah,
Really?
you remember this? And this was the bad guy. You know, it was kind of like 2,000 Leagues Under the Sea in space. You know, it's got the crazy madman that wanted to.
And what did it run on? Like Channel 9 or something?
No, it was a big movie out in the 70s, man.
Oh, it was a movie.
Black
Called what?
Hole. No, The Black Hole.
It was one movie?
Yeah, one movie. But I'm going to keep it moving as I talk. The Return of the Jedi cards had some really cool stickers in there. And those are always hard to find.
I see it.
Yeah, these are always hard to find. I'll just show a
Oh,
couple.
yeah, it's the one with Ernest Borgnine.
Yes.
Oh,
So we're moving over. We got some cool stickers from Return of the Jedi. You know, they're still on the card back. Jabba. This guy, Sacrilegious Crumb. Got your R2D2. And yo, it's a trap. Yeah, I love that, like,
it's a trap.
things become a thing, you know, like that's a joke now, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was the stickers were cool in here, you know. Got some Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, another Star Wars knockoff. That was a TV show.
Yeah, I remember that.
Aaron Gray.
Aaron Gray.
How do you remember someone's name like that, right? Oh. And then you might have thought she was the hottie in them spandex, but I always had the crush on this lady.
Who's that?
On the Empress lady. That was like the lady that Buck fought.
Oh yeah. All right. I remember that. Yeah.
Diggy. And then this guy was always one of my favorites right here. This guy, the Tiger Man guy. Probably one of the besides the Big Jim Adventure Pack guy with the tattoo on his chest, the bald guy, second skinhead I saw, right? The Tiger Man guy.
Oi.
That's it.
Everybody was trying to cash in on a Star Wars thing. Aaron Gray, yeah. Aaron Gray.
So Buck Rogers, that's cool. And then the real cool thing out of those, and I'm only going to show a couple of those. I got 2 more things. I really want to show some good finds I had. I found a stack of these, and these are in mint condition. And I'll just show you the size of the stack. And they're Tron cards, and I'll show you a couple of the
Tron cards.
Too. Yeah. These are stickers. Again, you know, the stickers usually ended up on some kid's bedboard, right?
Yep. That first Tron movie was great. Wasn't there another Tron movie recently?
Yeah, I like it. Got Jeff Bridges in it.
Yeah, they go to the other dimension, they find Jeff Bridges.
That's like the poster. That was the poster.
Yeah, that first Tron movie was good. Who directed that first Tron movie?
That was, and then we all played the arcade game, right? We all loved that arcade game where you got to like play the movie kind of, you know? So those were cool. I like the color. I like the way they look.
Oh. I'm just looking up who directed that first Tron movie. Oh, Steven Lisberger. Huh.
So yeah, those were in there. And then I was kind of running out of luck. I was thinking I wasn't going to find nothing cool. And then in the little box, I found these cool, I paid like $2 for these cool, in a watch case. Again, I went into suitcases with all the watches in it and found some of those old Square record album pins.
Oh, yeah, those were cool. Yeah.
Boston
Third Stage.
This one's cool.
Oh, that one is cool. Butcher Baby. Yep. That's a good one.
This one, I already hit this guy before, so I have some of these, but the destruction pin, you know, those are OG, you know.
Yep.
And then the last one, the Sabbath, right?
Yep.
And then I got one London Calling, round one.
Oh, that's my jam right there.
What they call a badge, right?
Yeah, right.
They call it a badge over there. So I'm going to move it on real quick. These are going to be quick. And then you didn't pull up the footage on the toy of the day.
No, let's do that next time.
No, I'll show it real quick. It don't matter.
All right.
But same thing. You think you're not going to find nothing cool. And this guy had a box of like, you know, regular stuff out now, play school guy toys. It was just a box of plastic to him. And he knows I dig the toys. But I dug all the way in the bottom like a person like me does. And I found these originals.
Oh, nice.
Cool, from the Muppet Show, you know, 1976, stamped on the back. So
I like the dude on the right. That dude on the right. No, the other guy. That
Gonzo?
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, Gonzo.
Gonzo.
Remember he had his own show? Super Gonzo. Yep. And then I was going to pull out a bunch of stuff like this, but this is a cool retro throwback thing. Now, I really dig going and doing the shows and selling to everybody. It's really not about money as much as it's about like being a part of the culture and getting in with everybody and talking to people about what they like and everything. But I really like that some of our friends out there bring me gifts once in a while. And the last one live show we were at, some kid just walked up and he's like, I don't even know who it was. I do, but I don't, you know. And he's like, oh, Rat Bones, I got something for you in the car. I was like, I have a lot of stuff. I didn't even really want it. But then when he came back and he gave me this, I was like,
oh, yeah. Is that Stretch Armstrong?
Yeah, even though it's retro, it's a mini. It just brings back the my kid's been playing with it. We already wore the pants came off already.
Yo, I looked into Stretch Armstrong a while back. There was like all kinds, like Stretch Alien. There was like a whole bunch of different ones.
So Stretch Armstrong was cool to get from. Thank you for that gift, man. I really appreciate that. You know, it all goes around in circles with people like us. We're all in the tribe, man. We all give and take. You know, it's fun.
All right.
So, you know, I'm always digging into flea markets. I'll be set up at the show. Can't wait to see everybody.
Oh yeah, someone was asking if you're gonna have. Someone was just asking if you're gonna have shirts.
I'm kind of down on my
Yo, Rat Bones, are you selling shirts on Sunday? I need to upgrade my size for my COVID 20 weight.
Well, maybe I have a medium for you, buddy.
I doubt Mark
actually, you know, when the Evans show was really heartfelt for me too. Watching it, this 200 episode was like did show me that my goals should be happening now. Like, I don't want to set goals and wait for them to happen no more. I want my time to be important. Like, that was a good show for me to see. And I feel like that in everything I do. So even though it looks like we're just out there clowning on it, I'm like promoting a new avenue I'm taking in life. Like, I really want to be a toy selling guy, only really just that's my business. So I'm actually going to be dropping the pitware stuff. I'm actually going to, that was it. It's like art. I'm like, the
All
best
right.
out of hardcore.
All right. I got guests we got to bring on.
Let's see the guests. We'll talk to you guys.
I'll talk to you later.
Definitely later.
All right. Oops.
Ragbone! 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 Ragbone!
What? Why'd you come out, actually, guy? I actually am. That's a big announcement I just made. Like, I'm dropping my whole pitware game. I kind of put it out there.
Hey, do you think I could bring our guests on and talk to them?
You
That'd be
can,
okay?
but I'm just letting people know the pitware game is. I'm reinventing myself, and
All right.
in a minute.
You heard it here first. Rat Bones is dropping his pitware game. News at 11. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, and we are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, the Texas Silver Rush Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Chacho's Tacos, 126 Hardcore Clothing, Grunge and Grime Soap Company, and Organic Grill. It's a vegan restaurant now located in the West Village of New York City at 133 3rd Avenue, right next to the Blue Note. Featured in New York Magazine, the New York Times, and the world-renowned Veg News, the dishes have won numerous awards, including Best Goddamn Veggie Burger. They make their own cheeses, sausages, and burger patties, and every dish in the menu can be made gluten-free. This year, they're celebrating their 23rd anniversary, and they're all about having a great time while enjoying amazing, clean food. They have now fully reopened for business and look forward to seeing you. Get in touch with them, order some great food at www.theorganicgrill.com. Come on now, Grunge and Grime Soap Company. They're a handmade soap and skincare company with a rock and roll spirit based in Nashville, Tennessee, in Smashville, Tennessee. They combine their love for rock music and their love for creating products that are good for your skin and good for your soul. Since 2019, they've been creating high quality, natural, handmade soaps and skincare products with ethically sourced and sustainable ingredients. Inspired by the music of the 80s and 90s, from hair metal to grunge and everything in between, they give 10% of the net proceeds to local and community outreach programs. Visit the website at www.grungeandgrime.com and enter the code DREW and get 20% off your first order, you cheap. Good for your skin, good for your soul, just like old-time rock and roll, Grunge and Grime Soap Company. Okay, what do you say we bring on one of our guests? Our first guest is a singer-songwriter hailing from the slums of Shaolin, Staten Island, New York, Gatton Island. For over 30 years, he's been the frontman of the band Enrage. Please welcome, coming at us from Springville, Staten Island, Mr. Jeff Altieri, a.k.a. Jeff Enrage. What's up?
Hey, what's going on? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you for having me on, honestly. It's very cool.
Yeah, for sure.
And I realize I'm like a George Hamilton tan right now.
Yeah, looks that way. Let's get a closer look at you. Here you go.
Oh my God. No one wants to see that.
Yeah. Well, what are you doing? What are you lounging by the pool? And what are you?
Yeah.
I didn't know the sun shined like that in Staten Island.
Oh, it does. Oh,
does it?
It does. Yeah. I just sit outside of my house and have a cup of coffee and get my little, bake on.
All right. How's things in Staten Island?
The same. Staten Island. It's as we pronounce it, Staten Island. You were raised and you still live in Staten Island, right? My whole life. Yeah. I was born
Tell us a little bit about growing up in Staten Island, what the environment was.
Half our friends, most of my friends growing up were from Brooklyn. And they were always like, how much cooler Brooklyn is. So you literally, if you grew up on Staten Island, if you were born there, you kind of had this told to you over and over that Brooklyn's cooler, So that's how we basically grew up. And Brooklyn was like this magic land to me, which was like so right over the bridge. And I was like, yeah, it's that much better. Okay. All right. But that's basically what it was like growing up in Staten Island.
And how did you get exposed to music? Did you come from a musical household? How did music come into your life?
My mom always played music in the house, like a lot of Motown and R&B, and then later on, I guess she was into like ELO and that kind of stuff. But
do you want my love?
Oh yeah, I took her to see ELO like a few years ago, and yeah, it was great.
They've been
Awesome,
playing, yeah.
awesome. I love all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then I guess, you start getting to your own identity, when you're like 10, 11 years old, and you would kind of rebel what your parents were into. And I kind of got into, heavy metal and all the other stuff that kids start to do when they want to not like what their parents like.
And what was like the first stuff that kind of came across your radar screen?
I'm trying to think now, like as far as like rock, like metal, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like what was the heavy music that spoke to you early
I think
on?
Probably Ozzy Osbourne or Quiet Riot, like because MTV was just starting to come out, and Ozzy at the time he was like scary, or like the parents hated him, so immediately I was like, this guy,
I like
during the era when I guess he peed in the Alamo and bit the bat head off and the pigeon head off.
That spoke to you. Peeing on the Alamo spoke to you.
I was like, this guy is the guy. This is my man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into it, really.
Question from Chris Hoffman. Do Staten Island residents get a break going over that bridge? Damn, that fucking bridge is expensive.
We do.
You do?
We do get, we do get a break. If you live in Staten Island,
a break beyond just the Easy Pass thing?
Yeah. You got a little bit of a discount. Not that much. But you get a break, Yep. You get a break.
Yep. Cool.
It's worth it.
Now, so what? You know what? I'm going to put up an early band picture, an early Enrage picture, and I want and just what was the sort of the impetus to starting a band, and how did this early lineup of Enrage come together?
We were kids in high school. And my buddy Mike there in the middle, he kind of turned me on to kind of some of the more, I guess, at the time, kind of more metal sounding hardcore bands. Because I was really getting into hardcore and punk and that kind of stuff. But I was still like a raging metalhead too, And I found a lot of kids my age, like once they discovered hardcore and punk, they kind of like shaved their head and like, I'm done with metal. I'm not gonna hide my Ozzy record and I don't listen to this anymore. Where I was kind of like into both at the same time, and Mike would kind of introduce me because I think it was the breakdown demo, like the '87 breakdown demo, and to me that kind of was like metal-ish in a way, and that's kind of how we started doing Enrage. Mike, my brother, and because we just wanted to kind of just be like I guess at the time a crossover band. We were really into like the Carnival Retaliation record, that kind of stuff. Well, I can't hear you.
The dude in the middle is wearing a Murphy's Law shirt. The other guy's wearing a Chain of Strength shirt, right?
Yeah. That's how it was.
Yeah. No, you sort of.
And the dude in the middle, he was straight edge, and he was wearing the Murphy's Law shirt. Yeah, he's in Kill Your Idols now and War Babies.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he was in Sheer Terror and my God, a million bands. He's
now this is a little bit later on this picture, right?
Kinda. My hair's longer. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a big boy there, huh?
I look like Meatloaf. I look like I was ready to do anything for love in that picture.
Right. You look like you were ready to do some Paradise by the Dashboard Light,
I was a large boy. And my brother's rocking a fantastic mullet there too.
Yeah, no, the Altieri brothers are got it on lockdown, Yeah, and Gina says, I remember seeing you guys at the Red Spot on Bay Street.
I apologize then, and I'm sorry.
But yeah, go ahead.
That was a thing. Another, a big thing for us too is it was really difficult playing shows because like I was stubborn and I wouldn't cut my hair. And when you're a long haired dude going to CBGB and stuff, you kind of had to be like someone had to kind of vouch for you. Like Jeff was cool, you know? So this guy, Vinny, he was like a skinhead Vinny. He got me into CBGB. I think he was those guys. And so like, oh, Jeff's all right. So when I made my band, I thought like, well, I could still have my long hair, and Roger had long hair, but it didn't work like that. You couldn't really be a metalhead fronting a hardcore band. And we learned that pretty early on.
Here's this is a flyer from the Red Spot. You guys opening for Creator.
Yeah.
I like the bill. I see Blitzspear is on the bill too. But
yeah.
what was the Red Spot? That's a place I never went to. What was the Red Spot?
I drew that flyer too. The Red Spot. The Red Spot was awesome. It was like 3 different rooms. It was right on Bay Street, so it was right by the bridge and the ferry. So Bay Street was like this happening spot on Staten Island where people actually kind of went to go. Like they actually went to Staten Island, believe it or not. And Red Spot had like 3 different rooms. They had a stage, the regular bar. Then they had like this one like room where they would play like Depeche Mode and industrial music and Ministry. It was like a really cool spot. I think it was just too big. It was just too many rooms.
Is that right?
I mean, that's the only reason why I could think it failed at some point, because it was happening for a while.
I know that we're skipping around a little bit, but where is that?
Fixing my shirt.
Where is that other? Wasn't there a? Yeah. Wasn't this a legendary show at the Red Spot?
Which one?
This.
What's
the story? What's the story with this?
This is the show that never happened.
It's show that never happened. Enrage, Lament, Sick of It All, Napalm Death, Sacred Reich, and Sepultura at the Red Spot in Staten Island.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine?
Wow.
I think what happened was the booking agent or whoever, they were told like how big the Red Spot layout was, but not, right. Again, it was all different rooms.
Yeah.
So I think when they found out that one area was kind of small, that was that Clash of the Titans tour. And
all for $12. All for $12.
$12.
And people would bitch too back then.
They did. They
people
totally did.
$12. It's fucked up. What a ripoff,
Yeah. That show is that was like the biggest show that never happened.
Yep.
Then the Red Spot was notorious for like turning down shows of bands who later on became huge. That's another story. Like Pearl Jam was supposed to play there right before they broke, and they turned them down, and then obviously what happened to Pearl Jam.
Good old Staten Island, man. The good old Staten Island mentality.
Yes.
Against all odds, we will self-destruct.
Yes.
RS70S, is the place still there?
No, nothing. Nothing on Bay Street, like that area, Bay Street. Nothing is there. There was Red Spot, and there was the Wave, which was a ginormous club, and like Typo played there.
Was Bay Street where the Paramount Theater was?
Yeah.
Well, I remember.
So you had at one point like just bar after bar and club and theater like all in a row. It was really a big thing.
Donald Scala says Jeff kept hardcore alive on the island. Big props, Jeff.
Thank you.
When you were coming up, when Enrage was coming up in sort of those formative years in the 90s, who were your Staten Island contemporaries? What other was there Staten Island? Was there a Staten Island scene?
Oh, definitely. I mean, there were bands before us. Like there were definitely like punk and I guess hardcore bands before Enrage. Like New Rose was big, and there were like bands before us. But I think what Enrage did and what our friends did, this was like I guess when Wu-Tang was like kind of saying, like when Wu-Tang said we're from Staten Island. So many people used to just not say they were from the island. So I think the only thing with Enrage was that we said we're from Staten Island. That's it. So there was us. I know I'm gonna forget some. There was like Mudfoot and Fallacy and Grim Legion, and there's a whole bunch of us that played together. And I know Malcolm's Lost. We're like and we were very competitive, but we were like, I hate the term family like that, but we were like a family. Like,
Atrocity.
oh yeah, they were before us too, right? Atrocity was before
Right.
us, right? Yeah, and
Yep.
they all, but like we were very together, unified. That we were from Staten Island, you know.
Yeah.
There was this great thrash band called Savage Thrust.
Oh,
They opened for
sure.
the Ramones, too.
I'm not familiar with them, but I've certainly seen the name many times.
I used to love Savage Thrust, man. Oof.
Yeah. And I even remember, like, in the early to mid '90s, like, there were big crowds coming out in Staten Island to see, like 1,000 kids would come out and see a big show, right?
Literally, yeah. I mean, like, I'm not using like hyperbole. Like, there was like roughly 500 to 1,000 kids coming to shows.
Right.
Not just for Enrage, all of us. And that's when the bigger bands started stopping by Staten Island. That's when they, you know, realized there was something there. So we had Death, we had the Guar, the Cro-Mags, you know, everybody was coming through to Staten Island. Sick of It All came in the mid '90s, and my brother, who was younger than me, he was the one actually kind of organizing it, and he wasn't even the hardcore at all, really. But he was, you know, I guess he had this like business acumen where he was booking all these shows and started getting these big bands, and that's how it became really a big thing.
Here's from the Wave in 1995, right?
Yeah.
This is a mixed bag. Sheer Terror, Enrage, 25 to Life, Methylene Blue, featuring members of Warrior Soul and Cro-Mags. What?
Yeah.
What the fuck was that?
And I think, I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive that I think Typo or Carnivore played the same night in another club, and Staten Island was happening so well at the time that both shows were packed. Both shows were pumping. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, here's a cool one. Yeah, now this one screams Staten Island to me, man. This one just reeks of Staten Island. Neary's place.
Yeah. Look, New Rose. There it is.
Yeah.
So the New Rose and the In Crowd, they were around before us, definitely. But that Neary's was like our little place in Port Richmond. It was exactly what you think it is. Like the guy who owned it was like a big Goomba with a cigar in his mouth. You know, he had little businesses he took care of with the basement, and he let us. We were kids in the bar playing these shows, and that was like your typical show. Enrage, Last Laugh. That was like your typical Staten Island show, and there he's in Port Richmond Avenue. Yeah.
Little Friedman says Carnivore played the same night at the Rock Palace as the other show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
that's it.
That's cool. Yeah. Now so in Enrage, here's another early. This is sort of an early shot of Enrage. What's sort of the trajectory of Enrage? You know, because I know you went on to do other things, a career, a family. How did things play out?
This is like kind of like when we were, for lack of, you know, we were getting pretty popular, and this is like, I think this is at the Wave, and again, it's probably about 1,000 kids there, you know, and we were starting to really blow up at the time, but at the same time, my brother became a teacher, and he kind of felt conflicted being a teacher and doing this kind of stuff. And,
I'm so conflicted. I can't be in a hardcore band and be a teacher.
I think he felt weird because like kids were coming. Because you know, when you're a student teacher too, you're like 20, 21. Like you're not even
right.
And so there's kids in school who are like 18. They're like, "Yo, what's up, man?" You know. So I think he felt weird with that kind of thing. And then later on, the same thing happened with our bass player Joe, and they just kind of like left the whole thing and became family guys. I never had kids. I got married. I got, married later on in life. So I was like, we're going to keep going, man. Let's keep doing it. You know?
Right. You were like the Drew Stone of the band. Like, dude, what the fuck? Right?
Yeah, me and my guitar player. Yeah, we had no kids. We didn't get married. So we were like, let's go. We got it. We're going to keep going.
But, I got to say, you had a hell of a look. You had a hell of a look going at the time, bro.
But this is what I'm saying. Can you imagine, like, walking into a show, like a hardcore show, and I walked in there with this, I was like Tad, the singer Tad. Like I was like the other guy from like Harry Potter, this 360-pound guy, long hair, and like, you know, so a lot of times like these hardcore shows, the kids would like turn their back, like once they saw me kind of walk out on stage. Or I used to keep my hair like in a bun and a hat, and then it would come out, and they'd be like, "I don't like this anymore." But I don't know. I guess I was stubborn at the time.
You held on to that metal.
I held on to that dude way longer than I should have. Way longer.
Yeah, there's a couple of you guys. There's a couple of you guys out there. That said, you know what? Let's bring on a couple, two of our other guests, and let's tie things together. Our next guest is an American singer-songwriter hailing from Brooklyn, New York. He's known for his work with Direct Approach, Close Call, Confusion, and currently The Last Stand. This weekend, he is part of the Inhuman reunion, a band which he founded at the Bowery Electric. Coming at us from Dyker Heights, Brooklyn, Mr. Mike Scondotto. Hey,
what's up, guys? Hey, Jeff.
What's up?
Hey. Let me bring your compadre on.
Sure.
He's an American guitarist and songwriter hailing also from Brooklyn, New York. He's known for his work with Step Aside, Agnostic Front, and currently Silvertomb. For over 20 years, he's been in the band Inhuman, who are doing a reunion this weekend at the Bowery Electric. Please welcome, coming at us from Bushwick, Brooklyn, Mr. Joe James. Hey!
What's up, everybody?
What's up, Joe?
Cool. So a little James gang.
Yeah, a little James gang.
James gang.
What's happening? Hey, Joe and Michael, welcome. Let's skip around a little bit, like on this topic here, because let's do a deep dive. You know, Jeff's out there in Staten Island. You guys are Brooklyn guys. You know, Michael, give me a little perspective on sort of that Staten Island crowd coming into Brooklyn. You guys going out there, was there cross-pollination?
Yeah, in the very early 90s, Jeff, I literally remember the show I met you at, which was a really cool show. There was this place in Bay Ridge called the Crazy Country Club that would do these hardcore metal kind of shows on Thursday nights. And one night, January of 91, it was Confusion, which was my old band, Enrage, and Injustice, which is Ill Bill and Necro.
Wow.
Two, rappers, their band, Injustice, and Raging Angel, which was Candiria before they were Candiria.
Wow.
So I met Jeff 31 years ago, and literally right after that show, Confusion started playing Staten Island. Like, we were playing Staten Island a month later. So either Jeff or Marco hooked us up. And my brother John's band, Lament, also played Staten Island all the time. A lot of the South Brooklyn bands played Staten Island, often at places like Mary's and the Red Spot.
Here's another one I have. This is a great flyer. The most brutal show ever on Staten Island.
Oh, that was a great show. Yeah.
5 bands collide on one stage featuring Lament, Enrage, Confusion, Grim Legion, Malcolm's Lost. What's Malcolm's Lost? I never heard of that one.
They were a popular band on the island for a while. They were like our buddies. And Grim Legion was like this death metal band.
Mm-hmm.
Carmine from Grim Legion, he later went on to play on one of the Biohazard records. I forgot which one of the later ones.
Oh, of course, Carmine Vincent.
Yeah. And now
Grim Legion?
Yeah, so Grim Legion they literally just got back like a month ago. They're playing again too. It's wild.
This show was wild. There was a bit of a brawl.
Grim Legion is recording again.
With Carmine?
My guitar player. Yeah, so Grim Legion got back. They're recording. Enrage's drummer is a drummer. The guitar player was also in Enrage. He's in Evoken now. This like doom metal band Evoken, and that's like the new Grim Legion with Carmine. Yeah.
Oh wow! Did you make this flyer?
I did.
Cool.
I
have it.
I love flyers like this, man.
That's a cool flyer.
Yeah,
That's
I remember.
That's OG right there. I was in elementary school when this shit came out.
I gotta say, at this show,
go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
That's okay. At this show, there was a little bit of a butting of heads between some of the Staten Island skins and some of the Brooklyn crew, but it was still a good show.
Hey Joe, growing up in Brooklyn, any Staten Island perspective?
Well, yeah. Once I joined Inhuman, and actually even before that, we were playing the Wave, and we were playing other like smaller clubs and stuff. But like the Wave was like the Staten Island Lemoore, you know. Yeah. And they had the back room, which was smaller for local bands, and the bigger room for like national acts and stuff. And we played both, and it was awesome. And it was just as like an important place as Lemoore was to us, you know, for Staten Island, you know. And we had a lot of, and we played with Enrage at that time. Yep. Wow. This was a Jewish temple in Bensonhurst.
The temple.
Yes.
Yeah,
wow,
it was the basement of a Jewish temple, like a synagogue, that would let us have punk shows. And, you know, like bands like Coheed and Cambria played the temple, which is crazy.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like
everybody played there.
Indecision,
like, Shutdown,
Sugar Cult, like
Marauder,
all sorts of like passing through bands that needed a show. Mike was part of the people who were responsible for putting on shows there.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of good times, you know, and it was like a kind of a regular occurrence that shows would happen there, and built a little bit of a Brooklyn scene after the Lemoore's era and all that stuff. You know, we were like, oh, go ahead.
No, I just love this lineup. Sworn Enemy, Kill Your Idols, Shutdown, Inhuman.
Yeah, we've been playing with those bands for, you know, 20 years, 25 years, you know,
right.
As long as we've all been, you know, Enrage included, you know, even before Inhuman per se, but like we all have spent many years doing this stuff, and we're lifers in a sense. You know, we spent over half of our lives doing this shit, you know, so
Sure.
It's awesome to still have friends that we know for that long, and it's an amazing, you know, bond that we share.
Yeah, and it's cool that both your bands, Inhuman and Enrage, are basically coming up playing the Bowery Electric, and you know, those shows are great. It's a great sounding room, and you know, Inhuman's playing this weekend.
I'm going to hold my thoughts on that till later, because I have a lot to say about what you're doing, and you know.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do this. Mike Scondotto, is this the original? Is this the first Inhuman lineup? And tell us about sort of walk us through the early Inhuman days.
Yeah. The interesting fact about this photo was taken in Staten Island, Jeff.
Hey.
Yeah, it was in '96. Yeah, this is the '95 to '97 lineup. You got myself with my eyes partially closed. We got Nick Angelieri on drums, the blonde hair.
My brother.
Jay Knackley on bass, and Mr. Larry Naroda with the awesome sweater on guitar. So,
no kidding. I didn't recognize that as Larry the Hunter.
That's right. So
wow.
Yeah, this was the band from summer '95 to the beginning of '97. Yeah. And
then at this point, there's a lineup change, and Joe, you come into the picture, right?
Yeah, so Larry and Jay left basically on the same day. But Inhuman had a tour coming up with All Out War. And I had a band called Step Aside, which was me and a bunch of guys from the local area that we did. And we, you know, we had a little run, but eventually when those guys left, you know, Nick, the drummer, was my best friend, and Mike was a good friend to me. So once that happened, me and this guy, Walter Cardenas, joined the band. Walter was on guitar, actually, and I played bass. And that lasted for about 2 years, like from 97 to like 99-ish, maybe 2000. Walter stayed in the band, and once he left, I switched over to guitar.
Yeah.
And is this that lineup?
No, that's Hank and that's Steve.
Yeah,
right.
That's Hank and Steve. This is
I'm sorry.
This is the year Steve joins the band. This is 2001. Hank joins in 2000. Steve joins 2001. Cool thing about this photo, it is us and Shutdown were on the way together and traveling in a van together, going to play the Chance at Poughkeepsie, and this was on the side of the road.
The Chance, good old.
Right before 9/11.
We had like been through a million drummers and a million musicians over the time, like, but that's the lineup that we feel is the Inhuman lineup that has lasted over the years, you know.
And this is the lineup that is playing on Sunday, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the same four people. Yeah, that you just showed.
From 2001 approximately till now. So
yeah,
that's a cool picture. That's a cool picture.
Yeah.
Linda Aversa, who is Larry Susie from Sub-Zero's wife, took that picture, and she's a great photographer and a really cool person.
She's great. She's great.
She's taken a lot of pictures through the
Yeah.
years. Here's
Shout
another.
out to Linda.
Here's another one. Were you guys going? Was this like? Were you guys? What's going on here?
Okay.
Oh,
So that was right by the wetlands, right around the corner from the wetlands.
Oh yeah.
I always had an idea. There was this alley that was there. It was like a really small, desolate cobblestone alley.
Yeah, I
And that
remember
was-
this. Yeah, I remember
it would
that
be a
alley.
cool
Yeah.
spot for a photo shoot. So Hank's sister, our bass player's sister, took that picture.
Right.
Isabel, and she's great too.
yeah.
Cool.
That's from 2002.
Too. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So right before we did an EP called Black Rain. That was the photo that was in the Black Rain EP.
Yeah.
And well, I know I'm going backwards. I think this was before you joined, but this was the first Inhuman demo, right?
Yes.
Yeah. From '96. That's me, Larry, Jay, and Nick. Made 400 of those.
Was
Long
this
gone.
recorded at Fastlane?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Was it? Bingo.
You know,
yeah.
speaking of Fastlane, I just want to say that like we have a long history with that place. I mean, more, you know, obviously Evan Biohazard and those guys have a longer history because they're older. But
Yeah.
for me, you know, my friends all work there, so
Yeah.
I would live there, and every band that would come through, we would interact with, or hang out with, or jam with, and Fastlane was a really special place for South Brooklyn bands.
Sure.
And
man.
I want to
Miss
shout out to Mikey Big Balls, wherever you are.
Yeah, I got a picture here. I just got up. I don't think I showed this on the last show, the Evan show. I might have for a second, but here we are at Fastlane Studios.
Oh, wow.
Evan, me, and Stigma. And you know who painted the Fastlane thing?
Joey Z.
Joey Z.
Joey Z.
Yeah, that I knew. Yeah.
Joey Z.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
he did.
that's a shot. I think if I remember correctly, Biohazard was recording some B-side stuff. They did an agnostic.
They did
Front.
Power.
They
Yeah,
did
yeah.
Power.
I was there when they did it.
And a carnivore song.
Yeah, I was around for all that.
There was a time when I was in AF that we were rehearsing at Fastlane, and Hatebreed was filming a video to the Threshold in the A room, which is the big showcase room. And it was funny that AF and Hatebreed were in Fastlane. You know, it just very odd that those bands would be there. You know, after I spent all that time, you know, cutting my teeth on jamming with musicians over the years there. You know,
I'm skipping around here, but it's that kind of a day. Hey Jeff, I know a couple years ago you went Enrage sort of waved their rally flag. You guys kind of got it. You know, I mean, in my perception, it's not like you guys ever broke up. You just sort of like take a break you just play a couple shows and then take a break, and that's
kind of. Yeah, we never like said we broke up. We just kind of, you know, if you're not playing, you're not recording, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Right. So this is appropriate. This is you know, Stefan Patroon's hi Jeff, greetings from Belgium. I know you got some, you know, people love Enrage in Belgium, and here you are playing in Belgium, right?
Yeah. He was actually kind of instrumental in getting us over there. I met him like in the 90s. There was some show like in a warehouse, and Sick of It All jumped on. Like, they weren't supposed to play, but they just jumped on. And this guy came up to me, and he knew about Enrage and stuff. And, you know, crazy with social media, he finds me years later with social media. And then this guy Ugo, they just like basically, it was something like there's some documentary out now where like there's some band where they're asked to play overseas. They're like, hey, you want to play Belgium? And we're like, what? They're like, yeah, come on. You know, it's 20 years later. Like, no, people like you over here. So, okay. You know, and next thing I know, we're going to Belgium, and then we're playing Ypres, and it was so for me, it was surreal. It was surreal. That was like the craziest thing, because we didn't do that when we were kids.
Yeah.
So here we are in our 40s, finally going to Europe, and we have no idea who's going to know us. And, you know, we got this great reception, man. It was.
I mean, it's probably safe to say that we've all played Ypres.
Yeah,
right?
Ypres is like the most for us, by us hardcore festival in Europe, pretty much. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, we played Antidote. Played it, and we played that tent. We didn't play the big stage.
Yeah.
We like headlined the tent one night, and it was off the hook. It was fucking great, man.
That's how our we I didn't think anyone was gonna watch us, because I forgot if somebody big was on at the same time. I'm like, no one's gonna watch. I couldn't believe it. I was getting emotional. I'm like, this is incredible.
No, I understand, because when we got booked to play it, when the sort of lineup came through, I was like, we weren't on the big stage, and I had like this fantasy, like we're going over there, and what's up, Belgium? Like I had this fantasy going. We're gonna be on the big stage. First time in Belgium, and then they sent the lineup, and I was like, yo, not only are we not on the big stage, but we're not on the medium stage in the tent. We're on like this little tent stage, and I was kind of pissed off, but then. We were playing last Saturday night, and there was nobody else playing on top of us.
Perfect timing.
And I gotta say, it was Nunzio, who I'm not exactly in touch with these days, but my former bandmate and my best friend, pretty much growing up, he said, you know what? Leave it alone, because I have a feeling it's going to turn out to be the best thing that could happen. And it was. Because since nobody was playing the big stage, everybody tried to get in this tent. They opened the flaps of the tent up, and it was like
awesome.
We blew it up, man.
That's great. I realized like doing a lot of festivals with AF and stuff that like
Bob Riley was there. Bob Riley, that's right. Bob Riley was there.
Yeah,
go ahead, Joe.
Once the main stage stuff is over, people are just looking for something to do after that. They're camping there for the weekend. Right. So anything that's going on, DJ sets, things like that, everybody goes to, because that's the only thing happening. And that's probably the best possible time to see a band is after that.
Joe, out of all of us, Joe, you have the most experience probably going over there and playing those kind of festivals, right? When you did your run in AF, you did it every summer, right?
I'm so grateful that I had a chance to do that. When I look back at it, it's something that like I'll hold for the rest of my life, because it's every musician's dream to play on stages with like, tens of thousands of people.
Sure.
So AF is respected in many different genres of music, punk, metal, and all sorts of different things, and all weird, like, the Prodigy would be wearing an AF shirt playing the fuck, you know what I mean? Like, it's that widespread because they're such cool people, and they treat everybody as equals. They don't have any sort of egos involved. I really think that like AF's place in music is special because of that, and Vinny Stigma will talk to a hobo the same way he talks to the president of the United States and treat them with the same respect. And like hobo may not be a good word, but
you know who that reminds me of? You saying that? That's like Bobby Hamble in the heyday. Yeah. It was the same kind of guy.
The people's champ, the people's champ.
Yeah.
The
people's champ. That's great.
People's.
So I'm grateful to have traveled with them on that level and see the sites that they had to offer for me. And like, I'm nothing but grateful for it,
Yeah. It was a nice run you had, and you did a lot of great work with them too. The stuff that you played on, and and it's interesting, Michael, that two Inhuman guys ended up in AF. That must have been kind of cool.
It was cool. We got to play with them a few times too, as a result of it. So that was always nice. But yeah, man, look, I'll say this about everybody that's been in Inhuman, and particularly the lineup, with Hank, Joe, and Steve. To me, these are three of the most talented guys in the New York hardcore scene, in my opinion, musician-wise.
Thanks, Mike.
I play with quality people, so, and I will extend that to my Last Stand brothers. Everyone I play with, in my opinion, is fucking an ace. So, yeah,
that's great. Good. Hey, let me. It's the top of the hour. Let me do some sponsor shout-outs, and let's come back and let's talk a little bit about Lemoore, the Staten Island and Brooklyn connection. We'll see you in a couple. Okay.
Right.
Sure, man.
That's right. Often imitated, never duplicated. It is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, and we are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Chacho's Tacos, 126 Hardcore Clothing, Grunge and Grime Soap Company, and since 1992, Generation Records. They've been a mainstay of the New York metropolitan area music scene. Today, they offer a diverse selection of new and used rock, jazz, indie, hip-hop, punk, hardcore, metal, blues soundtrack, and reggae LPs, as well as T-shirts, posters, and other merchandise. They buy used record collections and music memorabilia and will pay you top dollar for them. House calls made for large collections in the tri-state area. Call or email generationrecords@gmail.com. Follow them on Facebook and on Instagram. Also, the Texas Silver Rush. It's a jewelry design firm and boutique store located in the birthplace of the Texas country music scene in Fredericksburg, Texas. They specialize in working with musicians in all music genres to design and create unique one-off pieces, as well as style them for stage, album covers, promo photos, and social media exposure. Their client list includes Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Greg Rollet, Ringo Starr, and of course, Agnostic Front. Information on online sales are being taken at their Facebook and Instagram pages, and of course, www.thetexassilverrush.com. Come on now, New York Hardcore Comics. They opened in 2013, selling comic books, punk rock and hardcore memorabilia, toys, statues, skateboard decks, vinyl, and all things horror. We love helping bands push their demos or new tracks, so please stop by and drop off your new music. We have in-store events like Magic the Gathering and Warhammer tournaments, plus meet and greets with bands and some live performances. Open 7 days a week and shipping worldwide. Find us online through Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and eBay. Located at 117 Main Street in lovely Dobbs Ferry, New York. www.NewYorkHardcoreComics.com. That said, I want to mention the next 4 shows. Let's see. The next 4 shows coming up. Speaking of the one and the only Bob Riley, our very next show will be featuring the Pride of Troy, New York, where we have met the enemy, and the enemy is us, talking about Mr. Bob Riley. He will be on a week from today. There is no show on Sunday because we have the Bowery Electric show featuring Sworn Enemy, Inhuman, Incendiary Device, Blackout Shoppers, and Sewage. Bob Riley is on a week from today, June 29th, the day after my birthday. Bob Riley of Murderers Row, Stigmata, Cranial Abuse fame. A couple days after that, there will be the Godfather film retrospective with author Don Capria, who wrote Columbo, the Unsolved Murder. He was also a drummer. He had the pleasure of playing in Scarhead. Sunday, July 10th, Johnny Rio, Street Dogs, Roger Moret and the Disasters, The Bruisers, True Intentions, and currently out on the road with Slapshot. Sunday, July 17th, Mr. Nate Newton, Converge, Jesuit, Old Man Gloom, Doom Riders, Cave In, and Cavalera Conspiracy will be on the show. Lots of good stuff coming on the show. Got to mention this one. Sunday, July 24th. Not the next Bowery Electric show, but the one after that. If it's free, it's for me. All ages, the New York Hardcore Chronicles and Godfather's Bar proudly presents the Back to the New York Hardcore Roots Series music series. It is Scott Dottina's birthday bash. Some of his favorite bands are playing. We hope they are some of your bands as well. The Mad Mulligans, Dead Crew, Kings Never Die, featuring Danny Schuler from Biohazard on drums. Brick by Brick, Mike Valente. Come on now. Come on down, Mike Valente. I know Brick by Brick's on a tour, and their New York stop is at the Bowery Electric, Saturday, July 24th, and Sub-Zero. So there you go. Sub-Zero on the bill as well. I want to mention the book. Oh, you know what? I got to mention Patreon. Listen, I know times have changed. I know a couple people have bailed out, but the show needs your support. Coming up, lots of good stuff. But if you are a patron, this book is free. The New York Hardcore Chronicles, Volume 1, 1980 to 1989, A Flyer Oral History. If you are a patron and you don't have this, please reach out. We'll get it to you. Please join Patreon. Be a patron on Patreon and support the show. This is important stuff. What else? I want to support the Facebook pages that support me. Lots of Facebook pages let us post on the show to let people know the show's happening. I want to shout out Women of the Pit as well. Woman of the Pit. What else? Instagram. If you are on Instagram, if you haven't done this already, I know a lot of you have. Please follow Stone Films NYC on Instagram to get the latest on the show and all that. There's also a merch line. If you're watching this, think you can see it now in real time. Maybe you want the New York Hardcore mug. Maybe you want the New York Hardcore shower curtain or the New York Hardcore pillow to prop your loved one's ass up on while you're committing an act of adultery. That said, there's also a super chat. If you want to contribute, it's a couple of bucks. We're going to do questions in a bit. Yes, the best community in the world. Thank you. And, need your support. Support those that support you. Tell me about it. That's the basis of my whole thing. Like when people call me, hey man, we'd like to play the Bowery Electric. Oh yeah? Have you ever been down to the Bowery Electric? I've done 25 shows. Oh no, we've meant to, but we've never made it down. Really? Why the fuck would I give you a show at the Bowery Electric when people who come down every week and support the series are asking me to play? It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Support those that support you. Anyway, don't get me started. Just join Patreon. I think I covered it. Let's bring our guests back on. Let me clear the deck. People are coming from Canada for this show. Let me get. You hear that?
That's awesome.
Is that Sid? No.
Check it out.
Joe's a big Sid fan. Very big Sid fan.
Sid the middle-aged man.
Sid the middle-aged man.
He's no kid, guys.
Yep.
We know him a long time. He's no kid.
No longer a kid.
Yeah.
Sid said Sid blew my spot up recently. I talked about it on the show, man.
No.
He fucking, I just think, bro, I'll tell you again what he did, right? Oh, this is classic Sid the Kid nonsense, right? I go into the manager at Bowery Electric to square away the show, make sure everything's cool, because there's always something that happens at these shows. The underage kids are drinking outside, whatever. So I'm going in to just square everything away and make sure we're all cool, right? I'm in there for 10 minutes maybe. Afterwards, my girl comes up to me pissed off, says, Sid came up to me and went, I don't know what Drew's doing in the manager's office for so long. The manager's female. I don't know what Drew's been doing in the manager's office. I don't know what Drew's been doing but I need to go in there and talk to her. I don't know what he's doing, but you know how girls are. Wink, 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 wink.
You know how girls are?
You know how girls are. And I don't know what he's doing in there.
Sid don't know how girls are.
No, he said, you know how girls are.
No.
You know how girls are. I come out and my girl's like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, what? I'm like, Sid, what are you doing?
Yeah. Threw you right under the bus.
Bro.
We love him. Listen,
Now it's like, it's one of those things when you end up like,
foot and mouth syndrome. Look, straight and narrow. That's what we, look, Drew, I know you pretty well at this point, and I got to say, you're a stand-up guy. I wouldn't, if I was your girl, nah, I'm just kidding. No, but anyway, long story short, you're a stand-up guy, and I wouldn't put too much thought into it if I were you,
Listen, it's okay. My girl knows I love her, and and it's like, but it's kind of the thing, like, I married Jimmy Page, and you know what? He acted like Jimmy Page, like,
Yeah, I was a stripper when you met me. You know what I mean? Like,
right? I mean, But that said, are you excited to play the Bowery Electric, Joe?
Very. I want to just say that I love what you're doing with it. It really comes back to, like you say, bringing the roots back to the roots. It really is back to the roots. The way I started going to shows is, getting a flyer, seeing a band in a smaller place. Yeah. I came in a time of hardcore where it was a smaller. It wasn't popping at that moment, It was right before the resurgence in the mid '90s, where Madball and Biohazard and VOD and all those bands started really.
So you're saying you came in like 1999, 2000?
No,
early '90s.
93, 93, where
Okay.
those bands were just
okay.
starting.
I say I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got mixed up. So you came in like 90, 91.
Yeah, exactly. Around that time.
Those were a quiet time.
So, like, Dog Eat Dog and Madball would be playing Bond Street for 100 people.
Yo, it's so funny. It's so funny. I'm working on the new flyer book, and I'm getting comments. I just got comments from Dave from Dog Eat Dog about a Bond Street Dog Eat Dog Madball show.
Yeah, you know, it was wall to wall, even though it was the small walls. You know, it was like really pivotal time, and those bands went on to do some great things. And you giving the showcase an opportunity for younger bands in the place that you're doing it is doing the same thing. It's giving a chance for a younger band to showcase their stuff and be the next whoever it's going to be. You know what I mean? Like, it's important. It keeps our scene really organic, and it's the essence of New York hardcore, what you're doing, you know?
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. And sort of like my attitude with it is, you know, I got to say, part of my attitude and one of the people that has inspired me in some regard is the promoter Bill Graham. And Bill Graham did a lot of the small little things that made his shows great. And as a performer, and I'm sure, Jeff, you can relate to this, and I know, and Michael, you too, as a performer being in a band and doing my time in the trenches and being treated like crap by clubs and where it's not necessary.
If anybody knows that, it's the three of us.
Yeah. But you know, you don't have to treat a band crappy. You know what I mean?
That's how I started booking shows. Yeah. Because we used to get treated like shit. My brother and then I started doing it because we learned, you know, hey, if we treat bands nice, you know, maybe pay them something, you know, you're not going to, you know, we used to get shit on constantly.
But even with the Bowery Electric, I mean, I've done many Bowery Electric shows that have cost me money. But you know what? To me, in the big picture of things, like whatever. So it cost me $150, $200. Like whatever. What's important is in the swirling mass. It just keeps moving forward. I'll make it up in the next one or not, whatever.
You're doing important stuff, man. You're doing important stuff.
Hey,
I agree, man. I concur.
Big shout out for you guys from Mike DeJean.
Hell yeah.
What's up, Mike?
My brothers.
Another huge inspiration to me as a musician and a great guitarist and a great human being, top to bottom.
And I want to give Mike a shout out. Mike actually built the comic store that I had. Me and my brother John, what's up, John, had a comic store in Park Slope called the Brooklyn Monster Factory from 2006 to 2010. And Mike Dijon built it. So
I worked there.
Yeah, Joe worked there. Yes, he did.
Yeah. You know, just as a just as sort of a side. Here's a flyer from Bond Street Cafe, like I told you about. It's Dark Side, Confusion, Lament, Without a Cause, Dog Eat Dog, Adeline, Close Call. Like, wow.
I got to tell you, Drew, this is the last show at Bond Street. This is the final show. Yeah, that was the last
funny
show.
thing is, there was two bands called Adeline. One was from Brooklyn and one was from Queens, and they would play shows together. It was funny, you know. But there was no beef because they were all people who were like cool. You know, we were all down for the same cause. You know what I'm saying? So it was cool. And
that
Warren
was an interesting show.
Yeah, Warren
here's another one. Here's another one for Bond Street. Dog Eat Dog, Blindside. What is that?
Fear of Life. Fear of Life.
Bulldoze and Surrounded. Wow.
Yeah, Fear of Life was this dude Lenny who worked at Bond Street. He was the one who kind of like brought all the bands in.
Yeah, he used to book shows there actually. But dude, Bond Street was great. From 92 to 94, it was the place. It was a really cool place.
Is that right? Out of Line Queens featuring Warren Lee.
That's right.
Correct. Yeah.
And Out of Line's from Brooklyn featuring Frank Collins, rest in peace, from Confusion.
Yep.
Right on. So Jeff, you're dusting off the sort of and you guys are in the mix here. This is the Run Amok Fest. This is happening Sunday, August 14th. It's upstairs and downstairs.
I'm stoked.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm excited. I mean, we have a long history with Leeway, so I'm excited to play. And our friend Mike Groves, I think he's going to be playing bass for us that day.
Oh, is that right?
No. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. We're gonna switch to two guitars. Our bass player's gonna play guitar. Because our bass player, like almost every bass player, is really a guitar player. So I think Mike's gonna play bass for us that day.
So we're gonna put another big boy on the stage with Enrage, huh?
We're gonna have some. We're gonna be the heaviest band there, man.
Yeah, we're the heaviest bit. We are the heaviest.
I just want to say most bass players really want to be guitar players. Shout out to Hoya Rock.
Right.
We got beef like guitar players and bass players like Craig, the bass mafia versus the guitar gangsters. And I just have to set it straight that, you know.
This is a cool bill because upstairs is going to be RBNX, Necrotic Society, and the Car Bomb Parade. And downstairs is going to be United Blood, Damn Your Eyes, Enrage, and Leeway. Do you guys know what Damn Your Eyes is?
No.
That's the band with Gabby Abularock that was in the Cro-Mags, and they're actually backing Eddie up as Leeway.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
I heard he's got a good band behind him.
Yeah, it's Gabby. It's Damn Your Eyes with Leeway with Eddie singing. They do Leeway stuff, so that's how we kind of worked out. But you know, this is a co-promoted event with Women of the Pit. And it's gonna be really nice, Jeff. Upstairs, downstairs.
I'm excited.
We're gonna have some food cave.
We'll be there, Jeff.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I'm just appreciative that you put us on the bill. Like, not blowing smoke up anybody's ass, but I can count on one hand like how many people kind of look out, you know, or have been reciprocal with us. And pretty much, I'm looking at them right here. Like, you know, you guys have always been like, hey, can we get a show in Staten Island? That happens a lot. And then I get them a show. And then like, hey, can we get a show? And they're like, deuces. You guys have always been like, you know, reciprocal. And I appreciate it.
Well, you hear
We got a lot of respect for you, Jeff.
Yeah, we do, Jeff.
Yeah,
and you hear how I was carrying on before about like, you know, at this stage of the game, I get a lot of people asking to play. And it's just incredible how many people have the audacity to ask to play. And yet they've never been down. I've done 25 shows through the years. And we've meant to. But listen, bro, it's okay, man.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah, I'll make an exception once in a while. If someone's coming across the board like Ludacris just did, it's like, actually, that's not true. That's not fair to say, because I think one of the guys was down once or twice. But once in a while, I get a call like, you know, we want to play one of those shows. If it's a blockbuster, I'll
jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
I gotta say, Drew, like, I think I've been to every single show.
I think you pretty much have.
And, you know, like the last time we played for you, we have a great time. We love playing your shows. But what I want to say is, like, if you're a New York hardcore person, New York City hardcore person, and you haven't been to one of the monthly shows, I don't know what you're doing. I mean,
shame on you.
Come out. Shame on you.
Yeah.
No, really, you should come out. I mean, I think this Sunday is a great bill. Like, you have Inhuman, you have Sworn Enemy, you have Incendiary Device. It's kind of like a cool mix. The following month, you have fucking Leeway and Enrage. I mean, there's reasons to come out. The shows are free. So, you know, come out.
Yeah. What else do you need, really? You know what I mean? Besides,
you're not going to get asked to be on the guest list because it's already free. You know?
You're all on the guest list.
You're all on the guest list.
You're all on the guest list. That's right.
Here it is. Here it is again.
You're all VIPs.
Coming up this Sunday, it's a banger, man. It's DJ Sid the Kid, who's treading on thin ice.
We'll get him. We'll get him when we get there.
Sewage, Blackout Shoppers, Incendiary Device. It's our first show. Inhuman and Sworn Enemy. And Sworn Enemy playing a free show. Like, come on.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's a lot.
And got to shout out to Hank Hell, who made that flyer. Love you, Hank.
Yeah, nice. Nice. Well done.
I just want to say one thing real quick, Drew. Sure. The reason why we're playing that we haven't played in a long time and we're coming back is because you asked us. And you know what?
Yeah.
Like, because we respect what you're doing so much.
Yep.
And I wouldn't have done it any other, like, you know, there's not many reasons for us to do this.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that we really support what you're doing and we really think it's cool. And it is the essence of New York hardcore, what you're doing. You know, small club, good bands. Let's rip it up. You know what I mean?
But also I have to say, like, I like playing shows with you guys and your bands, and Jeff, you too. Why? Because you guys hustle. You know, it's not like, oh, here's a show and here's a show and and you don't do anything. You know, like, come on. Like Mike, you're like, Mike, you run at it hard, brother. And you know, I appreciate that. You know, you really do. Hey, here's a super chat from Mark Tolsch. Thank you for the support, brother. He says, I'm so happy to be driving down to see Inhuman after years of being a fan. Mike and Joe, please play Fascist?
Yeah,
that's one of those songs.
And What You Wanted. Jack and Cokes and Maker's Marker on me. Can't wait to see you guys again.
All right. First of all, I want to say no requests. No, I'm just kidding. We love Mark. Mark has been a supporter for years.
Yeah.
Every time I've gone to Canada with Inhuman or AF, he's been there. He's been cool. He's been the stand-up, straight up guy who has shown nothing but love. And you know what? For him, we'll do whatever he asks. You know what I'm saying? Like straight up.
Man.
Cool.
Fuck yeah.
Hey Jeff, I want to tie this flyer in here. This is a flyer from the infamous L'Amours, and it is an interesting blend. It is Primeval, Cannibal Corpse, Revenant, Enrage at L'Amours. And could you give us a little perspective on sort of like those, like, well, let's take it from this angle. Staten Island guy, this and that. I mean, isn't L'Amours like really it's just over the bridge and down the road? I mean, did you guys and a lot of people from Staten Island used to come in for that landing at L'Amours?
Oh yeah, and I think that might have been our first show at L'Amours. I might be wrong, but L'Amours was weird because literally it's a drive right over the bridge. Right. So it wasn't a long drive, but at the same time, like Slayer played there. So I could drive, we could leave our house, like our friends got a license to drive. We get in the car, you pack in the car, and we're seeing Slayer like 20 minutes away from where we live. So I can only imagine what it's like if you lived in Brooklyn. But, for us, it was like the Mecca. Like that might have been where I hung out more than even like when I said I was going to CBGB. L'Amours was still really my home. L'Amours was where it was at. So to be playing there at one point, I was in heaven.
Yeah.
At the time, like when L'Amours was popping, CB's was kind of on a downswing because of the violence that happened in the 90s, So like L'Amours, they had big national acts come through.
Sure.
Yeah.
And they would give chances to younger bands like these thrash bashes and town shows and whatever they did. You would sell tickets to those shows, but if you did well, it was pay to play at that time. Like L'Amours, speaking of treating bands well, L'Amours wasn't really the best at that, but
I didn't want to go there.
At the same time, if you did do the work and you did sell the tickets, they would give you opportunities.
They did for us. They really, I mean, they did. We got some, like we played with Biohazard a bunch of times, and this was like Biohazard in their heyday. Biohazard. I
remember. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, I was there too.
They put us on like with Morbid Angel. Like L'Amours actually, if you hustled, L'Amours gave you good shows if you put the work in.
Yeah, exactly.
And we would, they would say to us, well, you're a hardcore band. Do you want to play this Morbid Angel show? Like, yes, we will.
So L'Amours treated my old band Confusion well. It wasn't pay to play. It was pay if you got the pass in, you got $1 pass.
That's right.
You didn't have to sell tickets. You play for the pass. We got to play with a lot of, big bands like Cannibal Corpse, a lot of big death metal shows, Deicide twice, all sorts of like metal and hardcore shows. And it was a lot of fun. But Joe was right. Like for a little while in the city when there was kind of only Bond Street, pre-Coney Island High and pre-Wetlands doing a lot and pre the CB's resurgence, you had L'Amours doing, its thing. And it was fucking awesome. I mean,
in the Wave too in Staten Island.
And the Wave in Staten Island. For Inhuman, since we formed in '95, we got to get the other version of L'Amours when it reopened in '99. So we got to play there from like the '99 to '03 era quite a bit, Joe. So we had a lot of shows there. Yeah.
We came at a time where it was the end of an era in a sense, like the CBGB's thing. Again, there was a lot of violence that made it kind of like go into like avoiding hardcore. And L'Amours wasn't a hardcore club by far, But they gave local bands opportunities, which was cool. And then Bond Street was a little like there was just a little few places to play at that time. You know, we would like book shows at like catering halls, VFWs, things like that during that time because that was all there was to it. You know, our little Brooklyn scene with Indecision and Shutdown and you know Inhuman and Muddlehead. Lament, of course. You know, Lament was a little before, but they were still kind of around at that time, which I got huge respect
Marauder,
for. Marauder, of course.
Yeah.
You know, like all those bands, you know, it was a time where they were a little older than us. For me personally, like Marauders and the All Out Wars and the Confusions, but they had already kind of established a name. And Brooklyn was a weird place where it wasn't Queens of the city where like the mainstay hardcore bands came from. We were a little out of the box, and the bands that did come from Brooklyn were not necessarily 100% hardcore. They were trying different things, the Typos and the Carnivores. And
here's one we haven't mentioned: Life of Agony.
Sure, yeah.
You know, so all those bands for me were like my hometown heroes. I would go to Lemore's and see them, and they would pack the place, and they were just a few years older than me, you know, but at the same time they were doing something that was called, you know, starting a movement. So it was very inspirational to us, and we, you know, it motivated us to start our own bands and do our own thing, and I'd like to think that we did.
I think part of it, of course, I think just part of it is that it fed into, you know, it's like there was bands to play, there was other bands to support those bands.
Exactly.
It's just, I think that infrastructure existed where, in a certain way, it's well, I don't say it doesn't anymore. And I'd be the last person to say it ain't what it used to be. It's different now. But I think in that era of like the you know, early to mid, like let's say the 90s, there was certainly an infrastructure that was supported and antagonized people to go out and start bands.
And it grew. And we watched it grow right before our eyes.
Right. Well, and then you know, not to you know, go on the Biohazard tip too much, but when Biohazard blew up, just not only did they pull people along with them, but sort of like their wake when they were on MTV and they were touring the world, their wake was just
they
like,
brought every band up with them. You know, they
did.
were, you know, I wouldn't be here today without Biohazard, to be completely honest. You know, they were like one of the biggest impetus of seeing a band pack a club and like tear it up on a way that I haven't seen, you know, until later on life. But like, you know, they were like on fire.
Yeah.
You know, RS70 asks, "Is Lamore still there?" Here's a photo.
It's gone.
Here's a photo that I shot of
the building is there.
This was taken when I shot the Alago film because there's a Lamore segment in the Alago film where Michael Alago talks about it. But I guess it was this place, the Red Wolf, for a while. But the building is still there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
it is still there. Yeah, the inside is a factory, but the outside is still the same. Yeah, it's a factory. Yeah.
Here's a picture I took, I think, around that same time when I shot the Alago film because we were there shooting. I couldn't help myself. I had to take this picture.
Oh, wow. That train station. Yeah, I had a curfew when I used to go to Lemore's, and I used to have
shit was like the Warriors, bro. It was like the Warriors. You leave Lemore's, and you didn't know if there was going to be like some pack of people that were going to beat you down. You're going to have to run for your life to the train station.
Buddy system.
Yep.
To give you kind of a timeline, Drew, right? In the very early 90s, you had Enrage, and then in Brooklyn, you had Lament and Marauder and Confusion and Life of Agony. Nobody's Perfect.
Okay.
All at the same time. Cut to 94, 95. In Brooklyn in 95, you literally have Shutdown, Indecision, and Inhuman kind of all going at it at the same time. Marauder is still together. Marauder is actually doing great.
They had a step
That's when I was managing Marauder.
Right, exactly.
And we did Master Killer, and they were doing a couple of world tours. Now, here's a flyer from the era you talked about. I think this is 96, maybe.
Yes.
96.
Yeah.
And this is at CB's. Is this the first time Inhuman played CB's?
Yeah,
yes, it is.
Tyler King production right there.
The other thing is, shout out to Tyler King. This is Inhuman's first show at CB's. It's January 96. It's with, Larry, me, Jay, and Nick. However, both Hatebreed and One Life Crew canceled. So Trip Face from Long Island ended up headlining the show, and Cleanser is Derek from Neglect, and my buddy Christian was the singer. So it was a 4-band bill, and it was a Sunday matinee booked by Tyler. No Hatebreed, no One Life Crew, but it was still a good time. That was my
Inhuman
first
covered
show.
Rise Above that day. I remember that.
Yes, we did. We did a couple of covers, I think. And that was my second time ever playing there. My first time playing there was in '92 with Confusion with Sheer Terror, Dark Side, Marauder, and Starkweather, which is a really good show. And then, my second time, January '96. Great show.
Hold on. Let's see what else I got here.
I just want to say that the 95, the 96 and 97 era around that time with the indecisions and the shutdowns and all that, it was also a really kind of like another era in a sense in Brooklyn at the time. Yeah. We would, like I said, we would have to book weird off the cuff venues to do shows, but
dude, I see it in all these flyers you guys are giving me for the new book. It's like, what is this? The Voodoo Lounge?
That's Queens.
H2O played their first show. It was Raw. It was Club Raw. But there was a lot of like little pop-up venues where they do a show here and then they'd see what hardcore's about and they'd never do a show again. Like that kind of stuff.
Bro,
I'm sure Jeff has been there too.
Oh, sure. I can relate. I'm from the first wave of American hardcore when, we'd rent a hall in 1981 and Minor Threat would play and it would just pour the Misfits and they would just be like, what? There wasn't even a name for it, Hey, Jeff, I was looking at this flyer, the Summer Music Festival, Bud Light Presents. I'm like, where is this?
I think it was Pennsylvania.
Ah.
Yeah, I think it was Pennsylvania. And that show, I think it was like in the size of almost like a fucking like PNC Arts Center thing. Like it was huge. So there was like
people there.
Well, there was hundreds of kids there, but the place fits like 5,000.
Right.
So it was a weirdest look. You look out, and there's like nobody there. Yeah, but like at the end of the day, there was the next amount of people. But that was one of those shows. I think one of the bands on there, they talked shit about us. They were like, they thought we were like, oh, we're not a tough guy band like Enrage. Like we're not here to beat. And we were like, us. I'm like, what are you talking about? You got a mic. It's like Enrage, a bunch of tough guys. I'm like, wow.
Well, I guess it must. If you look at if they went on after you, it could have been Lifetime, or was that Lincoln Lifetime?
I think it was. I don't want to. I feel bad if I'm wrong. It might have been. Oh fuck! It might have been Lincoln. It might have been.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
I think it was Lincoln. They were like, that was like
Lincoln can suck it.
I just want to shout out. I want to shout out. Rest in peace, Dave Vision.
Yeah.
Yes. Hell yeah, man.
He was a great guy.
Before we I want to go on to this other flyer. I got to say that one of the great things about not just making the documentaries I've made, but certainly doing the show is I've done so much homework and I've learned so much about bands. Forget the bands that I peripherally saw, knew of. I'm at the point now where I'm looking under the carpet and being like, this band, and learning about all these bands, who is it? Oh, really? Warren Lee was in that band?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, this stuff is like getting shoved down my throat. Here's another one, Jeff, interesting, at the Rock Palace. Insomnia, the Love Apaches, Enrage, and Type O.
Love Apaches.
The Love Apaches were awesome. They were great.
Really?
They were kind of like grungy, indie, kind of Nirvana, Bleachish. And Type O used to play a lot on Staten Island. I mean,
they did.
And Carnivore, they played a whole lot, And for us, it was a big deal because Pete was larger than life, and he would just, you would see him a lot on Staten Island too. That was a big show. That was a big show.
Peter Steele, one of a kind.
Oh, yeah.
King of Brooklyn.
Amazing. I was talking to Evan off the record. Me and Evan are talking these days, and just about those Type O Negative records. And the last two, the very last one,
I love it
a lot. It's great.
I love it. Dead Again. Yeah. Love it.
Love
The
it.
I'm
one
a
before
huge
that,
fan.
the one before that was a little rough for me.
Yeah, Life is Killing Me.
You
Yeah.
know, there's songs, you know, like never listened to it, right? But after the fact that there's no more albums to listen to for them,
Yeah, right.
I went back and revisited,
That's right.
and there's a bunch of songs that are really good on there. That
Anesthesia.
I got two great stories about Pete, which are awesome.
Please,
One
go
was
ahead.
like whenever we played with them, whenever we did a gig with them, he would like this is like right when he started kind of blowing up, he would like let us eat like from their rider and shit. He would let us use his gear. Like they were just like, whatever you need, go ahead and use. He was like totally generous with us. And then there was a funny story. There's this other club on Staten Island called the Paramount. And they had like I was saying, Guar and Pestilence and Death and all these huge bands.
Is that
And
is that the Paramount Theater?
No, that's
I'm sorry, not the Paramount, the On Stage. I'm sorry, my bad.
Okay.
On Stage.
Oh,
On
Confusion
Stage.
played the On Stage.
Yes, my
Okay.
bad. I'm sorry about that. And so the owner one day thought my brother took money or some bullshit, and he clocked my brother. My brother's bigger than me. So it's like me, my brother's taller, and then there's Pete. And it turned into this big thing, and Pete, gigantic, took my brother like in his arms, like hugged him. He was like, "It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be okay." It was just, I'll never forget. It was the coolest thing ever, seeing Pete like hugging my brother, and he was one of the few people bigger than my brother. It was yeah. So those are two stories I always remember of Pete the most.
I got a story similar to that. You know, my first tour ever was as a roadie. You know, in 1995. My friends had an industrial band called Uranium 235. It was members of Law and Order.
Which is what I know is they were sort of like one of the bands that were sort of linked to Typo Negative. It's what's his name, who's a sound guy now, right? With Life of Agony.
Well, yeah, Matt Brown.
Matt Brown.
Yeah, he's a very close friend of mine, and he's the one who actually brought me on the road with them. But the singer and the drummer were in the band Law and Order from the 80s.
That's right. It was Rob Steele and Shane.
Yep, that's right.
And Shane produced our first demo.
Right, and let me just interject the connection. How I know them is because Law and Order was managed by Scott Koenig, King Management, who also a Rush Management early on, and he was also managing Biohazard when I was in that camp.
Wow!
So I was on the road with them for a month, and 1 month was with Typo, and 1 month was with Life of Agony, and that was my first tour ever. Like as a roadie, you know, I was so green at that time, right? I was selling merch for the band, and I was standing at the merch booth like, T-shirts here, T-shirt, like, that green, like I had no idea what to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we hit Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and the Shane from Law and Order, they were like very gothy, and they would go extremely goth looking. Yeah. And in South Carolina, it didn't really fly, so people were like making fun of him and shit, right? They had a keyboard player at the time who was like an ex-Army guy. And after the show, he went outside the parking lot and said, "Who's got a problem with my friend?" And literally the whole parking lot jumped them. You know, I was like inside selling merch, so I didn't see what happened. And after the fact, you know, Peter was there and kind of like there was dudes with broken, you know, guys in the band that had like broken bones and shit, you know. It was pretty bad. And Peter and Johnny Kelly and those guys were there and kind of like helped us get through it, you know. And at the end of the day, we continued that tour with people with broken faces singing on stage and shit. It was crazy, but like it was times that really like kind of made me see what touring was all about. And you know, I loved it. I wasn't happy that happened, but at the same time, the fact that they went and continued the tour despite the fact, like the show must go on kind of thing, you know, it just gave the work ethic into me that like no matter what, you got to keep going and do it no matter what happens, you know?
Absolutely. Michael, was this the first time Inhuman went over?
Yes. It was the first and only time, actually.
Yeah, we only went one time.
I don't think we slept the whole time.
It was awesome.
We were so excited to be there and was so happy
Who set up something like that?
MAD,
yeah.
Right.
This was me, Joe, Hank, and Gallo. It was in March into beginning of April of 03. We were promoting the EP that we had on this European label called Black Rain.
It was Ice Cream.
Yeah.
Lawrence.
Yep. No, not Ice Cream. That was later on, actually. We met Lawrence on this tour.
No, Black Rain was on Ice Cream. Oh, no, that's right. No, you're right.
Yeah, Last Rites is on Ice Cream. Shout out to Lawrence. This was a lot of fun. One of the shows, this was a big festival with Blood for Blood.
Yeah.
And it was fucking just, I mean, I don't know. We just had a lot of fun, a lot of partying.
So there
met
was
lot
a
of great
guy.
people.
There was a
Yeah.
guy out of Belgium or Holland. He was. I think he was Holland. Arnold Kromag.
Yeah.
Oh, no
Arnold Kromag,
Kromag, of course.
Yeah. So he was
He's
a
a big
fan of
fan.
Inhuman.
Yeah.
And he put us on this European hardcore festival, which was really put on by Lawrence and Arnold, you know? And that was a great experience for us, man, to play a festival the first time with Inhuman, going there, like similar to like Fest for Enrage or you know, for you know, Incendiary Device or Anecdote, you know. It was like the first time we ever saw the power of a European hardcore audience, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
Great.
on that tour, we played and met many people who became friends that we're still in contact with, you know.
That's
and,
true. Yeah.
Of course.
And
Great.
like I said, I don't think we slept a day on that fucking tour because we were so excited to be there.
Here's you'll appreciate this. Here's a shot taken in Ono Kromag's backyard
Great guy.
with me, Ono, Billy, and Evan back in the day. You know?
He's a great guy, great hardcore supporter, like giving
was
like
great,
up and coming
man.
bands a chance. You know, I have nothing but great things to say about him. You know,
I miss him.
Yeah, rest in peace.
he was. Wait, here's one more. Here's Ono, me, Billy, and I guess their booking agent at the time in Europe.
Wow.
You know,
If you watch that Dynamo Biohazard footage, he's right on the side of the stage going crazy. You know, and I always see
the 95 footage.
Yeah.
Drew, he was like our biggest cheerleader. He was a big fan of Shutdown and Inhuman. He used to call my house. Like, he was just what a great guy, man. Just really cool.
Yeah. He died young. He died young.
Yeah.
Jeff, looking kind of svelte here, man.
Whoa.
Listen, I went through a brief phase a few years ago, pre-Rona. The Rona brought some.
Look at that, bro.
What's your secret?
Like a supermodel, bro.
What's your secret, man?
Yeah, what's going on, bro?
I lost like 110 pounds, and then once the Rona, you know, I'm blaming the Rona, but it's really me. Once we lived in this pandemic world, I gained like 30 back. So thank God I'm not where I used to be in the early 90s. But yeah, I got to get back to that guy.
You seem to have the ability. You seem to have the ability to gain 100 pounds and lose 100 pounds.
Yes.
What is that an Italian thing? How do you do that?
I sweat olive oil
Cut out
on
the
my
pasta
skin.
for 6 months.
Yeah, I sweat olive oil on my skin. That's what I do.
I mean, what is it, pasta? How do you gain that much and lose that much, man?
No, honestly, I don't eat. I try not to eat pasta anymore. It's such a cliche.
I knew it.
I
Here's
really
a
try to
question.
stay away.
Here's a question from our friend Jonathan Buskey. Back to Pete Steele quickly. Did any of you dudes ever catch Fallout?
Before my
No,
time.
that was the very beginning of the 80s. So we were all children. So no.
So that was before Carnivore.
Yeah.
Evan saw it.
Evan did. Yeah.
I saw Carnivore a couple times pretty early on, and I just remember being like, "What the fuck is this?" I was just like when it was something out of like Road Warrior, and they had like the Keith Alexander was like had fur on, and like it was like what is this?
I'm a huge fan of theatrics, to be honest. I'm a hardcore guy, but like I love Guar, I love Carnivore, I love all those bands that kind of like took it an extra level, you know.
You know who turned me on to Carnivore? Without a doubt, I got to give him props. Is Paris Mayhew. He's the one that was like he fucking loved that band. And when we were doing the videos back then and all that, you know, before we did the Typo Negative video, Paris Mayhew was the one. Every time I went over to his house, he had like his retaliation on the turntable. He loved that band. Let me ask you about this, Michael. This photo is like the Brooklyn Crew.
Yeah. This was in '96. This is Inhuman, Indecision, Shutdown, Muddlehead, and Step Aside. It's 5
Is that Larry?
Brooklyn
I
bands
see
together.
Larry the Hunter up there.
Yeah, that's Larry's in there. Yeah,
Larry's in there. You know, I'm like right by the pole wearing a mint shirt, like about 4 people in on the. Yeah. Anyway.
I'm wearing the Misfit shirt.
Larry says, "Yeah, there I am." Yeah.
And I'm in the Misfit shirt. Right below me is Jerry Farley. Jerry was the drummer of the band Muddlehead with Dion.
That's Jerry with his hands on his head like this?
Yep, that's Jerry Farley. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about that?
So yeah, we got like 5 bands. 5 bands and a couple other, you know, miscellaneous in one picture.
Like here's like Jerry's a beloved figure. It's only through doing this show and, you know, being an archaeologist that I've realized like how deep Jerry Farley's roots go back in this whole
Yes.
thing.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
He was there.
Yeah, he was there, man. He showed me his Confusion T-shirts. He's got like tons of old shit. Love Jerry. Shout out
He's
to
a
Jerry.
brother for 25 years plus. You know what I mean? Like I love Jerry. He actually got his start at Fastlane as well as an engineer.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, Jerry's great. Jerry's awesome.
Yeah. I think I first met Jerry the first time I really met Jerry is when I went out to do background vocals on the Sick of It All record.
I was there.
Like a couple of and he was like, he wasn't producing that one, but he was sort of engineering or recording it. And that's the first time I met him. And then, we kind of.
Speaking of which, Jerry, if you're watching, Inhuman is going to talk to you soon.
Oh boy, here we go.
There you go. A little inside scoop.
Yeah. So hey, let me take my last sponsor break. Let me do a little sponsor shout out stuff and talk about some upcoming shows, and we'll come back and we'll take some questions from around the world. All right?
Awesome.
That's right. You are the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, and we, friends, Romans, and countrymen, are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, The Texas Silver Rush, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Chacho's Tacos, Generation Records, Grunge and Grime Soap Company, and 126 Hardcore Clothing. It's a streetwear brand for restless individuals who don't compromise. They're about being positive, spontaneous, and true to yourself. For years, they experimented with several printing methods and materials and collaborated with a large number of designers and illustrators, always giving room for fresh perspectives while retaining the hardcore attitude. Get in touch with them. Ramp up your game at www.126hardcoreclothing.com. Come on now, Devin. This is DTFM Vinyl Distro. They're a record store that specializes in underground music, the kind we like, not above ground, but underground. Punk, ska, hardcore metal, and more. Located in the heart of Fargo, North Dakota's industrial district. Shop in person or online at www.dtfmvinyldistro.com, where the motto is death to false metal. Last but not least, the one, the only Chacho's Tacos, located in Corpus Christi, Texas. Chacho's Tacos opened their doors in 2001, home of the almighty Chacho's Taco. They cook up an incredible home-style Tex-Mex food, and this month they're celebrating their 20th anniversary. They've been supporting underground music since the beginning. In their own words, we ain't stopping anytime soon. Touring bands that play Corpus Christi swing by and get a home-cooked meal at Chacho's Tacos. We got you. The underground scene will never die. Please follow us on Facebook or on Instagram. That said, I want to mention the next 4 shows. Let me clear the deck. We'll talk about that. Coming up on Wednesday, July 20th, Catherine Popper is coming on the show. Incredible bass player. Little bit of a side trip here. She played with Jesse Malin, Willie Nelson, Jack White. She's in Puss in Boots now. She played with Ryan Adams. Incredible musician. Lots to talk about here. I haven't formally announced this show yet. I have to do a post for it, but John Guzman's coming on the show. Artist. He's makes incredible art. He's a musician. He's in Rule Them All, Restless Spirit, Dead Last, and John the Movie. Something different. We got to get some young people on the show. Don Foos is coming up. Author. He's got a new book out. Musician. His current band is One Life All In. He was in the Spud Monsters and Run Devil Run. And then Sunday, August 7th, You Asked For It, You Got It, from previously Man of War and previously The Dictators and previously Shaken Street, the one, the only Ross the Boss is going to be on the show. So we're down with that. That should be cool. Looking forward to that. Oh, you know what? I'm going to play you here. Coming up this Sunday, do not forget, at the Bowery Electric this Sunday.
It's gonna drop off tonight. Incendiary device. Take cover for the counter strike. A perceived violation. Personality assassination. Victim generation. Cancel augmentation. Incendiary device.
Coming up this Sunday. That's right. It is at the Bowery Electric. It is free. Spike Polite and Sewage, Blackout Shoppers, Inhuman, Sworn Enemy, and it is our debut Incendiary Device, which is carrying on the tradition of Antidote NYHC and Antidote and the High and the Mighty. Lots of new songs we're doing. It's going to be great, and we're super excited to get out there with our friends and do it. Also, if you can't make that show, we're going to be up in Albany on August 12th. We're playing with Madball and Death Before Dishonor and Cropsy, Downswing and Wrong Move. We're at the Empire on August 12th. And then we are going out west to play once again. We're playing Crash Fest 2022 out in Portland with, I think the day we're playing is with The Take, Doug and the Slugs, Fang, and a couple others. So we will be coming out west. We're trying to figure out if we're going to do Seattle first or we're just going to come into Portland and do the show. I personally want to just come to Portland and do the show for a change. But, that said, you want a shirt, come to the show. Actually, we gave out most of the shirts. But you know what we got now? You know what? Look what I got. These were a birthday gift. Check these out. These are cool. These are Incendiary Device patches with the ID logo. Woo woo. So if you come to the show and this is the kind of thing that rings your bell, I will ring your bell. Yeah, that's right. It's going to jump off tonight. We're not coming out to Detroit with The Take yet. We're actually going in to record. We're going to play a couple shows and we're going to go and record. We want to get a record out, and then might make more sense. Absolutely, we love Cropsy. Yo, Cupcake, I got you. Lori Dawn. Anyone even remotely associated with Women of the Pit, if you want one of these patches, I got you, because I'm a big supporter of Women of the Pit. That said, any questions for our guests? Jeff Enrage, Mike Scondotto, Joe James, please don't be shy. Post some questions. Let's have some fun, because we're still on a natural high. So here we go. Let me clear the deck. Let's bring on Jeff, Joe, and Mike Scondotto. Max, who happens to be at Hellfest right now, is asking, when will Enrage come back to Europe?
When they want us, I'll go. You say come down, I'll come down. Max is great people. I got to meet him out there. He's a sweetheart of a guy. Yeah, Max, I'll come out. If you want us to come out, we'll come out. I'm ready.
Come play Max's house.
I'll play Max's house.
Wow, here's another one for Jeff. This is an interesting, I did not know this. A question for Jeff. What was hotter, when they made the I Survive video at Mother Pugs, or the time they played with Murphy's Law at Mother Pugs? I was there for both.
I Survive video. And we did it on a Sunday afternoon in August. We just, we made a kind of a free thing. Just come down. We gave some pizza. And it was like 100. It was 100 degrees in there. Murphy's Law was hot too. But Murphy's Law played my bachelor party at Mother Pugs too. That was another one.
Jeff, I was at that Murphy's Law show in '95. That was insane.
The one at the Wave, or that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
that was good.
Here's a question, and let me answer this one here. Did they play Castle Heights in the 90s? I'm not sure exactly who you're referring to, but Inhuman. Here's an Inhuman flyer.
Sure did.
Featuring a debut. Is this the first Inhuman show? And this is at Castle Heights?
This is our second show ever. That weekend, Friday the 13th of October, 95, we played in Pennsylvania with Shutdown. Saturday the 14th in 95, we played this show with Crisis, Dead Air, which is John and Mike from Candiria, the band they had before they were in Candiria.
Well, wait a second. Wait a second. Didn't the Candiria name come up before with a different band?
Yeah.
It was the other two guys.
Yeah, it was the other two guys, Raging Angel.
So these two bands, sort of the ashes of those two bands met and created Candiria.
Exactly.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
the thing is, Candieri was around for a few years before Mike and John joined them. So
They
that's
had an album out before they joined, actually.
right. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
The Realistic Madness, their first album was with the original lineup, and then after that, John joined, and then Mike joined soon after that.
Right. But yeah, this is
Dead Air was almost like a alternative band.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ray Hogan says, "I love Dead Air."
Yeah, they were an alternative rock band.
That's very
Shout out to
interesting.
John Lamacchia. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, RS70 says, "What happened with the Castle Heights dog? Was there a dog in there?"
I don't ever recall a dog at Castle Heights. So
Okay.
Mike's brother Kevin was the one who booked all the shows at.
Yes, of course.
Castle
That's
Heights,
right.
you know?
Yeah, he
Not
booked
only
this
did
show.
Mike's brother, not only Kevin Castle book it, but half the Scondotto brothers played there all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to shout out to a lot of the bands that were a part of that era, which is like Everybody Gets Hurt, Sworn Enemy, which was Mindset at the time. Irate, Born. There's a ton of bands that we played with at that time that were like a part of that next era after the Bond Street thing, and after like when CB started coming back. Queens had Castle Heights and Jackson Heights, and that was in its own little world in a way. That was ABC No Real.
Right.
That's a great picture from that's from 2012 or 13. Jamie York took that picture.
Oh wow.
This was a great show, actually. That was the last time we played ABC before it closed down.
Is that is that downstairs or upstairs?
Upstairs.
Downstairs.
Upstairs.
Right.
Upstairs. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember. I don't remember what I ate for lunch yesterday.
Oh, my mistake, RS. I'm baked. He says, "Yo, Drew, what happened with the Castle Heights show? Kevin was supposed to do the show and he postponed it. Kevin's got a couple things cooking. He wants to have them in place before he comes back on. So hopefully we're gonna reschedule it at some point. Hopefully.
Shout out to Big Kev, wherever you are.
What's up with Sudden Fear? Busky says, were they on that last flyer?
Yeah, they were a metal band. They
metal
were not
what?
a hardcore band. They were not a hardcore band. No,
they were a metal band.
No, but they were. I don't think they were like death metal or anything. They were. I don't know. I think they were just like a regular kind of metal band. I don't remember a lot about them, but I think they were a Queens band. But it was kind of an eclectic show because 1995 was a very eclectic, weird time. So yeah.
Yep. Here's a question. A question from our resident historian Chucky Brown. He says, question, Mike and Joe, can they speak on the last track on the 1999 Inhuman album Rebellion, track number 11, the track with the funny phone prank they did on Mike?
I'll let Joe
I would like to talk on this. So basically, we recorded our second album Rebellion in 1998 or so. It came out in 99, and it was produced by a guy named Ron Thal, also known as Bumblefoot, who played guitar in Guns N' Roses for a minute and did some he's an instrumental guitarist who's like a virtuoso, like amazing guitarist. So Mike couldn't make the first day of the recording session where we were getting our tones and our sounds and stuff. So we came up with a funny idea because Mike had kept calling to see how the things were going. And we just said, like, okay, Ron, you call Mike and tell him that the band broke up during the time that we were getting our tones together. You know, we were arguing. So we called Mike and he recorded it. And on the end of the album, we put it on there where we told him, like, you know, those guys had an argument and they broke up and they left. And Mike's like, what? I can't believe it. Like, you know, like one of those things, you know. And it was just so funny to us that we just threw it on the end of the record as a spoof. But like, it was just a great moment. Like working with Ron, he was a great guy, and
yeah,
he's still out there doing big things, and we're happy to have worked with him. You know.
He also produced the first record as well. He produced.
Right. I think Larry just wrote that too.
You know, I got to get him on the show because he's a great guy. He's done a lot of stuff, and he's around. He's accessible.
Yeah, he produced Indecision and Inhuman, a bunch of Brooklyn bands because he had a little studio in Dyker Heights for a while.
He's out in Jersey now. He's out in Jersey.
Yeah.
When he did move from Dyker Heights, he had a studio near the Wave, and it was called Wave Studios. That's where we recorded.
Yep.
Yeah, is that right?
Our second album, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I think he recorded my wife. My wife played trumpet on a ska demo or something. I think he's
wow.
Yeah, great guy.
Yeah, you know, I was sort of in touch with him a bit, and when he got the Guns N' Roses gig, I went to that show. I saw him, and then we talked. I'm like, good for you, dude. You know?
Yeah, man.
He's amazing. He's a great guitarist. Like he's
Yeah.
out there so far, like on the cutting edge of what a guitar can do. You know what I mean? Like
Dion Denardo says Bay 8th Street in a basement. The bass cab was in the bathroom.
that's
right. Yes, Dion. Shout out to Dion from The Last Stand and Shutdown. Dion's band Muddlehead also, I believe, recorded with Ron Thal. So how about that?
Dion was the bass player.
Is that his name? Ron Rosenthal? It was Ron.
Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah, Ron Rosenthal.
I don't know if he wants it out there.
You know, listen. You know, those Jewish guys, they you know.
He's all
It's a
right.
little too ethnic. It's like being like Joey
He
Boombox,
had to
you know?
reinvent himself.
I don't know if I want to be on stage like, you know, my name is, you know, Joey fucking, you know, Bag of Donuts.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to change my name, you know.
Hey,
But yeah, man, that was a great time, man. That was fun times.
Dion says that was his first ever recording.
That's right. Yeah.
I think what else we got here?
It's cool, like, you know, being in the band for so long as Inhuman has been around, or as long as Enrage has been around, or, you know, even you, Drew, you know, you bump into things that, like, you know, it's almost like Forrest Gump style, where you're in a place where you weren't expecting it, and you bump into people who end up being much bigger. And, you know, Inhumans got to play with Mastodon and Lamb of God and Coheed and Cambria and all these bands who have gone on to huge success. And it's amazing, you know, just to bump elbows with those guys. And years later, I ran into Randy, and he remembered that we played with him. And it's like, after all he's accomplished, that he still has that memory. It's like a cool thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
So, some people remember things, man. You know?
Yeah.
And
sorry,
we've been fortunate because like our first record was on Eyeball Records, which back then had put out, you know, Breakdown and LES Stitches.
Who was
then they went
Eyeball
on to
Records?
put out
Who was behind
Eyeball.
Records?
Eyeball was Vincent Lee and this guy Alex, Vincent Lee from Generation.
Sure.
And
he signed some little unknown band called My Chemical Romance. I don't know
exactly. And
Really?
Thursday, we were label mates with Thursday and My Chemical Romance.
That's Vinny that owns that's part of Owner Generation.
That's right.
Yeah.
Who has the Thai restaurant place.
That's right. Sage in Waynesburg. It's a
There you
great
go.
Thai restaurant. Go check it out if you get a chance.
But yeah, little things like that, you know, it's just it's our little brushes with greatness.
I consider Inhuman to be New York hardcore's best kept secret. You know what I mean?
Well, it's coming out on Sunday.
We're having a coming out party.
Paulie says, I saw Enrage open for Murphy's Law at the Wave in 1995. Mudfoot also played in some other bands that we missed open.
Mudfoot was great too.
Yeah, Mudfoot were great. Mudfoot could have been like big, like beyond like hardcore. Like
they transcended style.
Yeah.
And who was in Mudfoot?
This guy Scott. Like no one really plays that much anymore. They've all kind of scattered around. They're all still musicians playing, but they really could have done something. You know, they were a really great band. They were really, you know,
hey, let's
good
do
friends
this.
of ours.
Let's do this. First live show you ever went to, Jeff?
Good question.
Like you mean like in a high school? Like I went to
Yeah, it doesn't have to be hardcore. Like, what was the first like? Wow, I'm a young person, and this is like my first like concert, or I'm seeing or music.
All right, so I'll say in a club. In a club was probably Lemoore, and I think I was meant Savage Thrust, and they opened up for Overkill, and I had to leave before Overkill because I was going to get in trouble. I was like, you know, a kid. I had to be home. So I think I saw Savage Thrust at Lemoore. That was like in a club, my first show, I think. Yeah, I think that was it. They were from Staten Island too.
Mike, you go because you got a better one than me.
Well, it's two really. I mean, local. I saw Social Disorder, who was one of the earliest South Brooklyn hardcore bands. I saw them play at Church Hall by Coney Island Hospital when I was 14, and about 3 months later, I saw the Bad Brain Super Touch Murphy's Law at the Ritz, and I was 14 years old using John's birth certificate that said I was 16. So I got into hardcore as a 14-year-old, starting going to shows that young.
Speaking of Social Disorder, I just pulled up an interesting flyer. Social Disorder and Death at Lemoore.
Yeah, I was at that show. Yeah.
Look at that, huh?
They were a really good hardcore band from South Brooklyn, and honestly, they were kind of an inspiration to me and like Lamaki because they they were putting out demos and they were playing shows and they were from Brooklyn like we were. They were older than us, but they inspired us. It was them and another band called Mr. Pickle, who were two of my earliest bands that I remember seeing.
I've seen them around on flyers, and I've wondered, Mr. Pickle. That's an odd name. I mean, who were them?
They were from like Marine Park, Bensonhurst. Like they, another band. They kind of sounded like Murphy's Law, like party hardcore. Yeah.
You know what? Another band that's kind of come across my radar screen is the Six and Violence.
Yeah, I saw them at CB's too. Yeah.
No Redeeming has a long history with them.
No Redeem. Yeah. Joe, what about you?
So I have to say, probably my first thing was probably a Biohazard show at Lemoore.
Right.
I had like seen them. I lived in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania for a few years growing up. And I was into skating and all that kind of shit. And a few of my friends, like Jotham from Wisdom and Chains, I went to school with him. Like those guys started getting into hardcore and going to shows out there. I was a little younger, like by a year or so, and I still had curfew and I couldn't go travel like that. But I had relatives who lived in Brooklyn, and I knew those bands were from Brooklyn. So what made me come back to Brooklyn, in essence, was chasing that scene that I had heard of.
Sure.
So when I did come back to Brooklyn, I went to Lemoore, I saw Biohazard, and then shortly after, like Madball played like a Saturday matinee at Lemoore.
With Confusion.
And Confusion played it, Dark Side played it, 25 to Life played it, Neglect played it, like a few bands like that were like of the time, and I got to meet all those guys that day.
Yeah.
And that really set me on my path in a lot of ways. You know, I met
Freddie. It's certainly inspiring when a young person, and it was for me, when I went to my first hardcore show in 1981, I went with Jack Kelly, who's the singer for Slapshot, because we were in school together. Wow. And I saw SSD Control, and there was, 15 kids there. It was SSD Control's third show. And it's certainly inspiring as a young person to see other young people playing. And Al Baril took his guitar off after the show and approached me. And they were like, "Who are you? And what are you doing here?" But in a good way, in a non-threatening way. Like, wow, a new face. Where are you? And it was like, it absolutely inspired me.
That's the amazing thing about hardcore that a million people have said before, is that there wasn't this like godly ego involved with a musician who's in a hardcore band. They would come down and hang out with you as if they were, we're all kind of fans in this thing as much as we are musicians, So like meeting people and relating on a level where we all kind of have the same mindset. And it's a worldwide thing I've got to learn over the years. I've traveled personally with AF and all that. And you meet people around the world who have knowledge of these smaller scenes and these smaller satellite things that happen, and they have their own little satellite worlds, and it's all important. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I certainly hope, like that said, I know there's a great division that's going on now in the hardcore world between the very young people and the sort of guy and the guys and gals our age, and it's sad to see it, because it's almost like it's in vogue for the young people to really shit on the older people now. And I see it.
I'll say this. Nobody wants to be into what their fucking parents are into.
Of course not. Of course not.
And we're of the age now where we're reaching parent age, or we are parents.
For sure. For sure.
And the kids want to cut their own cloth. You know what I mean? And more power to them. And I hope they succeed. And I just wish there was a little more respect towards the people who paved the way, because it was a jungle. And the AFs and the Cro-Mags and the Leeways and all these bands had the Weed Whackers and cut this path that's now easy to travel, and it wouldn't have been there had not these bands come before. And
well, it's Jeff, what do you say on that?
It kind of goes to like what I was saying before, like I rebelled against my mom's music. She listened to doo-wop and Frankie Valli, and then whatever. So I found my own thing with heavy metal. But I agree with what you're saying. Like with hardcore, it's like you can't rebel against the same genre. Like, so some of these younger guys are rebelling against the same genre that they're in. So that's the part I kind of don't agree with to some extent. I'm all for, like, if a young kid has some band and I don't know, and I go, what the fuck is this? What kind of music is this? I think that's a good thing, because I'm not supposed to know and I'm not supposed to get it. But if you're in our community, like our world hardcore or whatever extreme music, hardcore, let's say, then you should show reverence at least and know, you know what I mean?
Well,
You can't tell, like, it's the same music.
absolutely, but I have to say that this thing, and it's a very convoluted thing. This sort of hardcore thing, or what is it? Because you'd like to say the byline that everybody's a part of it and it's all inclusive. Truth be told, there's a lot of situations that have been very, exclusive, and I don't want to mention names and crews and scenes and shit like that. But I think
from Staten Island, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
True.
So I think it's an interesting thing where now what makes me sad is that people coming up have an attitude where it's not inclusive. It's like we have our thing and fuck you, you guys suck, and that kind of thing, and that makes me a bit sad because I'm a little bit older than you guys. I was on the front line, in the first wave in the early 80s, where there was a handful of us basically, really trying to march forward with this thing and to see it come to that. But listen, as you know, I'm the last guy that's going to be like, oh, back in the day, things, the wave goes in and the wave goes out, and motherfuckers will get sorted out. And like Bob Riley says, it's always been territorial, and that is true. It has always.
One more thing I want to say is
what's up, Bob?
The one thing, respect to Bob, man, huge respect. But one
coming
thing
up on the next show, Bob. Right?
Yeah, one thing I want to say is that the climate has changed in how people absorb music and how people pass music around. And it's not the flyer anymore. It's all on the phone. It's all online. The community sensibility, that we had. That's why it's so important what you're doing, Drew, is that you're keeping that community alive in a sense, even if it's in a small scale. Today, there's a lot of gatekeepers involved in our New York scene and things like that. And a way to make yourself stick out from that gatekeeper's thing is to cut your own path. And maybe they don't want to pay, kiss the ass or do the thing that they need to do to get into they're doing their own thing. And you know what? That's more hardcore than anything, really, if you think about it. You know what I mean?
It is. It is. And, I don't want to be thought of as a gatekeeper.
No, you're not.
I try to be inclusive. I do all ages. Everybody's welcome. All I ask is that you come and you support what's happening. Don't just be a taker.
Yeah.
That's what gets me. I hate people that are just fucking takers, man.
And that's the important thing about the early hardcore scene as well. It's like, if you didn't play an instrument, you could start a zine, you can do a radio show. Nowadays you could do a podcast. You can get involved in so many different ways because this is a for us by us movement, and the only way these things get around is by somebody taking the initiative to do something and spread the word. And it's a very word of mouth thing. We never had radio. We never had videos. We never had stuff until later, whatever, But realistically, it's a word of mouth movement. So taking the initiative and doing something to spread the word is important, And you're doing it.
Just to sort of be a little self-indulgent. That's what our whole thing, Incendiary Device, is about. This is the incendiary device. That's what the whole concept is. Not that we're not fucking doing Tales from a Topographical Ocean here, but the whole thing with Incendiary Device, where it started, was that whole concept of the internet and how people could talk out the side of the neck on the internet and not have to deal with any sort of repercussions whatsoever. And this is an incendiary device.
It's something that didn't exist before a certain time. Right. Now it's like this new world of shit talking from anonymous point of views, and realistically, it's cowardly.
No, it absolutely is cowardly. It absolutely is cowardly.
It's created cowards. Absolutely.
It is. And RS70's right. No one gives a fuck now. It's all about the minute. Okay, 2 seconds. What's next? But we cannot accept this. We must forge forward and do what we can to sort of. I'll always move forward and try to keep things inclusive. It's hard.
At the end of the day, you have to be the example you want to see in the world. Right. So we lead by example. We have our bands, we play our shows, we do things the way we want to do it, and hopefully that will inspire others to do it in the same way.
Yeah.
You know, we can't help the way people feel and the way people approach things, you know, and if they want to rebel against that, that's up to them too. You know, it creates different, you know, if everybody thought the same, the world would be a boring place. You know what I'm saying?
You know, it's a crazy thing, the whole Turnstile thing. It's like everybody loved Turnstile when they were like, you know, up and coming there, you know, and now they're doing big things, and the amount of fucking hatred and bullshit that
I give them all the credit in the world, to be honest.
I love them. I'm a fan.
You know, I think they're a great band. They come from a very real place. A little product placement.
Yeah.
You know, like they're not changing their style to fit in with what's happening. Their style is what's happening. You know?
Yep.
Their style is what's happening. So you could go for the ride, and I give them all the credit in the world, and I wish them all the luck that they, you know, success that they can possibly get out of this.
Yeah.
You know, everybody who takes hardcore to a higher level, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? It's just spreading the word.
But you also get into the realm of like, you know, and I sort of came. This was new to me when I was managing Marauder in '96, who called themselves hardcore, and I was like, that's not hardcore to me.
I know.
You know, so what is hardcore? You know, it's something that's ever elusive and something you can't put a tag on.
Yeah,
to
it
me,
really is.
Hey, to me, hardcore, Minor Threat, Bad Brains. You know, but I'm a first wave dude. But there's people today that go, we're a hardcore band, and I hear it and I'm like, oh
that's
really?
something I wanted to say about Inhuman is that we've always tried to keep a punk rock element in our band, because I really feel that hardcore comes from punk rock, and I always want to pay homage to the things that set the pace for the way things go.
Right.
You know, we may not fit in with today's climate of hardcore, and we may never have fit in with that. Right. You know, because things have gotten a lot more metallic or whatever. We try to mix it up and do as much as we can, but I always try to keep a foot in the punk rock scene because it is the impetus. You know, and you know, people have taken it and put their own little signature on the way that they do it, and it makes it like unique, and that's what makes it beautiful too. Because now it's a wide span of genres that kind of like fit in that category, and everybody's got their own tale to tell. And hardcore is really a way of life if you think about it. You know, it's beyond.
Well, it's what I use a lot. I use the term the hardcore ethos.
That's right.
You know, it's like, you know, the hardcore lifestyle, the hardcore ethos, you know, when people get, this isn't hardcore and that is hardcore and you're not hardcore. It's like, yo, fuck all that, man. You know, it's like, that's
Drew, I've been really lucky because I've been booking a ton of bands on Staten Island, and they're young. These kids are young and they're super talented, and none of them are hard. Don't get me wrong. None of them are hardcore bands really.
Right.
They're more like indie rock and stuff, but they follow that ethos that we're talking about more than a couple of the hardcore bands who are from my area right now, you know, which is kind of wild because like
they support each other.
They support each other. They go see each other's shows. All like when I book these bands, like it's a certain crowd that come and they don't care, you know, they're not like, it's not cliquey. They're all supporting each other. And the one or two hardcore bands that are from the island are young. They're like, there's no shows in the island. No, you don't come support the shows. So you're not playing them. But you're welcome to always play. But, you know, you kind of, you know, not all, like I said, there's only a couple of new hardcore bands in the island. I mentioned
being a part of the scene.
I like them, but
I like what Blake says here. Blake Patriot, it's a drifting spirit.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I did.
And you know what? Being a part of the scene, as long as I have, you know, a scene is created by having a steady place to go to see the shows.
Yeah, right.
You know, like if a show does one show here and one show there, and you're not have a steady place to go see it, you're not going to build a scene that way. Having a place 100%. You can go to consistently that you can go and see your friends and know it's a meeting point.
That's how I'm with you 100%, and that's what I've worked so.
And that's why we support it.
That's why I've worked so goddamn hard to do at the A7 and then at the Bowery. And like I said, you know, sometimes shows cost me money, but I tell you, those
and shout out to Jesse too, because he's helping us do it. You know,
listen, I've done a lot of shit. I've made films. I've been on many stages, held many mics, took airplane flights. You know, like I've done a lot of shit, but I gotta say, like when we our community do a great show at the Bowery Electric, it brings me an incredible amount of joy. It's almost like nothing you know, it brings me so much joy, more so than just me.
Serving
Oh,
yourself.
my film screened, or this or that. But when like there was a show we did at Bowery Electric, not the last one. One of the ones, it was a goddamn blockbuster, and I was like, that was just so goddamn great. And
there's something to be said about being a service.
Yeah, right. Stop being a
And-
taker. Stop being a taker. Have some
what
Yeah,
you're
gratitude.
doing-
Show
what
some
you're
Give,
doing-
humility.
give something.
Yeah, what you're doing is like very important because you're being of service. You're providing a showcase for older bands and newer bands to come together and put out our stuff and have an audience for it. You know what I mean?
It brings me joy. And like honestly, like at this stage of the game of my life, the accolades, like I don't need to do the big, I don't need the I've had the accolades. I've had success with this and that. I had a career doing music videos. I had a career doing extreme sports films. I had a career doing documentary films. I tour managed. I've had the glory. It like you said, it brings me the most joy to be able to give back and to see the community move forward.
Because everybody eats off of that. Everybody eats off of that.
That's right.
You know?
Everybody wins. And I got to shout out Tony Palmisano, who's a big part of these shows and a big part of what I do, a huge supporter, always there with a helping hand. And it's guys like Big Tony, and it's guys like Larry Kelly, Mr. Wolf. Those are the guys, the unsung heroes that make guys like Upstate Rick, guys like Little Freeman, who comes to the show, busts his head open, loses his wallet, and is just
comes back for more.
Yeah.
Thanks, Little.
Yeah, you know what? And Mike Valente, shouting out Mike Valente and what he does.
Yeah, he's like the you of upstate. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? He's providing a showcase for people. You know what I mean?
Sean McNally, you're right on. He says,
Sean's great.
He says, Jesus Christ, you're putting on 3 shows with name bands. Quit bitching and get out there and support. It's amazing. People will, and you know
why you're getting name bands? Because you're doing the right thing, brother. You know what I'm saying?
How's this sound? I don't give a fuck about your kids. I don't give a fuck about your dog. I don't give a fuck who's sick. You get your fucking ass down to the show and support.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take much. Just show up, man. The rest is
a lot of people with a lot of excuses. My cousin's sister's thing. I don't care.
My kid.
It's my dog's birthday.
But Drew, you probably get this more than I do, obviously.
Listen, Jeff, you've done a lot. You've done an incredible.
You.
Like, listen, I've done shit, but you're in the same boat with the bands and the hard work you put into Pugs and bringing all those motherfuckers out there. Come on now.
Yeah.
Thank you. That especially coming from you, that means that's incredible. Thank you.
Yeah, we gotta like give thanks to anybody who's involved on that level, giving showcase.
But there is a certain. He's right. Like, I know it sounds super corny, but there's a certain almost like picture like when you make food and you give it to someone and they like it. It's a joy you get. Like when you put together a good show and you see this communal thing and kids singing along and having a good time. I feel good. I feel good after it. You know what I mean? It's a good feeling.
Yeah, when you see friends that you've shared times with for years, and it's a coming together of it. It's a great feeling to see. At the B&B Bowl recently, we took a picture that was like similar to the picture from '96. It was like guys that we know for 26 years.
No, but I mean, when you put on shows, like when I see these new kids now in their 20s, and now they're making those memories that we all grew up. It's not the hardcore scene, but they have a music scene, and they're enjoying this, and maybe they'll hopefully be like us and lifers one day. You know what I mean? That's a nice thing.
It does make me a little sad that I try to get young people to come on this show. Mm-hmm. And I try to get young people to play the Bowery, but they don't want anything to do with it. For the most, no, I get a couple here and there, but they don't want anything to do with it
until it's a happening. You know what I mean? Like nobody wants to touch anything until it's already done.
No, until you get like a band that they want to open for, then they're going to ask to be on the show.
Exactly.
I've tried. No sense mentioning.
Yeah, at the end of the day, people want it easy. They don't want to work. They don't want to do it, And I'm not saying that about younger bands in particular. I'm saying about all people. You know, people want it easy. They just want to show up and they want people to be there. They don't want to pass up the flyer, do the fucking homework or do whatever.
Yep.
They just want to show up and it be easy. You know, it takes work after, you know, it's a thankless job to be in a hardcore band. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it takes a lot of like, you know, love of the game to be involved in it for this long. You know what I mean? And, you know, I hope that there's a chance for another generation to feel the same way that we do about this thing, you know?
I don't know if I want to be the James Brown of hardcore. I don't know. I'm. If someone once called me the Woody Allen of hardcore, I thought, you know what? Someone called me the Johnny Carson of hardcore. That
you are the Drew Stone of hardcore.
I'm the Drew Stone of hardcore. Hey Jeff, are we still? Has it been announced? Aren't we playing together in September?
I haven't announced it yet, but you want to announce it now?
Yeah, let's talk about it a little bit.
This is a New York hardcore exclusive.
Yeah, tell them what's going on, Jeff.
I'm kind of fleshing it out. So my wife is running she's running New York City Marathon for the National Brain Tumor Society. Her aunt died of it, so she's trying to raise money for that. So we're going to try to do a benefit show in September. I don't know if I can announce everybody yet, but Enrage is going to be on. Drew, you're going to be on. Cropsy. Like I said, I don't really do a lot of hardcore shows that much on the island anymore.
And we're doing it outdoors at Pugs, right?
Yeah, outdoors at Pugs. Yeah.
With Enrage, Incendiary Device, Cropsy.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if I can announce the last band.
Yeah, don't announce it. Yeah,
they said, yeah, and I'm gonna wait.
I'll wait. It's a big band, and
I can guess. I bet you I can guess.
Don't.
I'll wait. So that's supposed to be happening in September. That'll be the first Enrage show on Staten Island since Sick of It All Agnostic Front when I got that one to come to Pugs. So
that's cool.
That's
big for Staten Island. You know, like those bands never really venture that far out there. You know what I mean? Like, but that's a big thing.
Played years ago, but you know, at this place called the Rock Palace that like we used to live at.
Yeah, that was back then. I'm saying now you're responsible for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. Thanks. When they played Pugs, that was the most fucking surreal thing. And the crazy thing was, I asked Lou at the time, like, "Hey man, like, can Enrage play? You know?" He was like, "Yeah, you're Staten Island." He goes, "The only thing is we got an opener coming with us." I'm like, "Yeah, of course." Who? He was like, "Agnostic Front."
Like, nah, no good.
Yeah. You know, right before the pandemic hit, when we were still in the A7. I was talking to Agnostic Front about playing the A7, and we were right there. And then the pandemic hit, and then it just blew.
You know what? Apart. They're good for their word. Trust me.
Yeah.
If it was in the works back then, it's in the works now.
Well, we lost the A7.
No, but even still, you know, you could do a special thing somewhere with. You know, they're just like me. You know, we support what you're doing, Drew. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Roger's one of my oldest friends in this hardcore game.
Amazing guy. I see him out there kicking ass right now, and I'm so happy because you know he went through a little health troubles, you know, and like not a little, but a big health trouble, and he's out there kicking fucking ass like you know nothing ever happened, and I love him. I got nothing but good things to say about them.
Hey, thank you guys for coming on the show. That was really great. It really ramped up the last hour.
Yeah.
You know, I love shows like this, you know, where it's sort of like, you know, here's the script's out the window, and it's just these are the great shows. This is the money for me, and I think this is what everybody really loves. Let's anybody you want to shout out? Jeff, let's start with you. Anybody you want to thank or shout out?
I guess Mike and my band. He's been with me forever, so he's like a brother to me. So my Enrage guys. I'll mention some bands from Staten Island. Not necessarily hardcore. You got Herjaza, you got Tombstoner, that great metal band. Scum Shots. I know I'm forgetting some more. King Like Mom. Slide has like Matt from These Nuts in it. Jigsaw Youth. I know I already mentioned Cropsy a couple times. I mean, I guess I'm thinking those bands because the people who listen to your show, Drew, and watch your show, those might be the types of bands that like the people would check out. You know, but there's so many good bands on Staten Island. And again, I can't emphasize that much. It's almost like a renaissance.
What was that other band I remember? The Gabagools?
Gamagools. The Gamagools.
It's very Staten Island right there.
The Gamagools, they should be called the Gabagools if they're from Staten Island. But the Gamagools are still together. Like I said, there's just so many good bands. I know I'm missing a bunch. A lot of them, like I said, alt indie rock, but super talented. And girls, like so many girls playing now too, who fucking slay. The government is just, I know, Strega Nona. There's so many bands right now. And I wish people would notice some more of these bands on Staten Island. Again, not necessarily hardcore, but there's so many good musicians right now. So I give a shout out to all of them. And they're all young cats.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you. It's been an honor.
We'll see you. We'll see you at the Bowie Electric in like 2 months.
Yo, Jeff, keep up the good work, brother.
Thanks,
Cheers, Jeff.
Thank you.
Take care. And you guys, of course, we're super excited because this weekend, couple days,
Rip it up.
It is a big show. It is a big show for us. It's Incendiary Device. It's our first show out of the gate. It's going to be really great. We've been working hard, and and it's you guys. So, Mike Scondotto, anybody you want to shout out, thank on the way out?
Yes, I want to say what's up to Hank and Steve Gallo of Inhuman. What's up, guys? Very excited to fucking play our first show in 4 fucking years. Very excited. Also want to say what's up to my brothers in The Last Stand, Dion, Jimmy, and Steve. What's up, guys? We're playing a free show in Coney Island that Jerry Farley's putting together on Friday, July 8th. Come out to that. And if you like horror movies, check out my horror podcast, Necromaniacs Podcast, which I co-host with my buddy Mike Hill of the metal band Tombs. So check that out.
Yo, I want to come on the podcast, man, and talk about
Drew,
horror shit.
You've heard it today. We're gonna make that happen. We're gonna
Listen,
make
I might not be as but I have some perspective on
Cool.
He's a director, for crying out loud.
Exactly. We'll make it happen, Drew.
You know what I'm
We'll
doing
make it
now?
happen.
Me and my gal, we're onto the 70s movies now.
Oh,
and
awesome.
we just watched Marathon Man, The Sting, Black Sunday, the one with Robert Shaw and the Blimp.
Classics.
We just watched The French Connection.
Oh, I love that movie, man.
And now we're going to
Love all
watch
those
French
movies.
Connection 2. And you know what she's never seen? The Omen.
I have the Omen soundtrack. I'm a very big Omen fan. I have the
I'm pretty
Omen.
sure we came
vinyl.
out to that, didn't we, at some point?
Yes, we did. Yeah, on our last show with CBGB's back in 06, the last time we played there, we used the Omen theme to come out to. Yeah, it's pretty
That's
cool.
great. All right, Michael, I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Thank you,
you,
Drew.
brother.
Cheers, Joe.
All right. Okay. Joe James, who do you want to
All right.
shout out and thank?
All right. So first and foremost, I want to thank you, Drew.
My pleasure.
And then I want to thank everybody who's out there watching. Hello, people of Earth. Okay. Besides that, I want to send a shout out to Mitz. He's going through some personal stuff, and I want to say that we're with you and we love you.
Shout out to Mitz.
Anybody who's going through some personal times right now, this scene is a family, and that we all support each other. So if you're out there, we got your back, and you just make a phone call and we got your back. And beyond that, we'll see you on Sunday with Inhuman, the first time back, because Drew invited us, and that's the only reason why we're here. And I just want to thank everybody for being a part of this, and keep on swinging and keep on doing the thing. And we're just happy to be a part of it.
Cool. All right, Joe. I'll see you in a couple of days.
I'll see you, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Take care.
See you.
Well, there you have it. Great show. But then again, that's what we do. Great shows. One after the other. Often imitated, never duplicated. It was a great show. Yes, please join Patreon. I need your support, man, with this thing. I know a lot of people come and go, but, the show needs your support. I need your support. Please join Patreon so we can just keep going with it. I got to watch The Omen with my gal. She's never seen it, I don't think. And if anybody out there sees Sid the Kid, make sure you bust his ass about blowing up my spot. Fuck. Yep, Sid the middle-aged man. Sid's never gonna live this down. God. Papillon. Of course, Papillon. Where do you think I got this from, huh? Where do you think that came from? Papillon. That's where it came from. How about that? Never see my tattoos. I just showed you one. The Deer Hunter. Deer Hunter's a heavy, heavy film, man. Woo. Directed by Mike Cimino. Speaking of the Deer Hunter, Mike Cimino also directed a film called Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, and that's like on our to-do list. That's a great film. No, there's no show Sunday. No show because we're doing the Bowery Electric. We will be back a week from today with Bob Riley. So there you go. Johnny Rock, what's up? Good to see you. Pizza Machine, right on. Yep. All right, incredible show. Hey, Rick, you got to come on and we got to talk about your new music project, brother. We'll do that. We'll do that soon, Rick. Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3. That's on the list too, of course. We're trying to watch the old dirty New York films and like identify all the spots, you know, like Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3. We just watched The French Connection. We got to watch The French Connection too. I've never seen it, you know. I know, right? Blew up my spot. Deer Hunter was filmed in neighborhood Cleveland. Great film, man. Does anybody know what film Mike Cimino directed after The Deer Hunter? What film did Mike Cimino direct after The Deer Hunter? And go ahead, go on Wikipedia and cheat. Go ahead and cheat. Go ahead. You know, I got to watch French Connection too. Yeah, I know. It probably sucks. There you go. Heaven's Gate. That's right. Heaven's Gate, which is a great film, but it pretty much destroyed the Hollywood film scene. But hey, I could sit here and talk about films till the cows come home. Taxi Driver, we've all seen that a million times, you know. That said, hey, a great show today, everybody. I'm not going to see you on Sunday. If you're a patron, there's going to be a Patreon-only update. And, come down to the show on Sunday. I'll give you one of these, an incendiary device patch. Everything. Godfather Part 2, of course. Death Wish and Serpico. Death Wish is a brutal film with all the rape and shit. It's like, it's hard to watch, like, rape scenes with your girl, even if they're from the 70s, it's like, thank you, Justin. I appreciate you guys too. Number one favorite movie of all time. And for me, I've been asked that many times. I'd say, and I've learned to say that, did I tell you the Mother's Day story? Anyway, when people ask me what my favorite film is, I say The Shawshank Redemption. That's my stock answer, Shawshank Redemption. Didn't I tell the story about that movie Mother's Day? Drew watched Mother's Day. Is that why you're saying that? Because I went on a date. I brought a date when Mother's Day came out, and the whole film had like 3 rape scenes in it, and it was just like it didn't go well, man. That didn't go well. That said, thanks a lot, everybody. I'll see you in about a week. Until then, do good things, and good things will come to you.